I always forget to put the chat into the other window.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
sort of get them swapped like that, because or
Yeah.
like I'll click on private chat and I'll be like, I don't, we don't
Yeah.
talk to each other in the private chat. We're talking to
I've
each
never
other
seen your
like
chat.
on
I've
camera.
always caught your
So
messages out of in private chat like 20 minutes later. Yeah.
I know.
After you've given me the dirty look of like, dude, like, yeah, like,
Shoot.
okay.
Over
Yeah.
it's over on the side well, hello there, welcome to another weekly
What
podcast
up?
where
Yeah.
we're
Welcome back.
two old guys like yell at kids to get off our tech lawn. I'm Juan Carlos Bagnell, this is my
Always.
buddy TK Bay,
How you
and
guys doing?
we're gonna chat about the best tech of our week. And I don't know about you, man, but I know you've been doing a whole bunch of traveling. I've been wrapping up a bunch of these like behind the scenes and client video projects. I
Yeah.
did a
Yeah.
shoot.
Yeah.
I was a DP on a project.
Oh man, I
I
can't wait
just
to see that stuff.
this whole last week just felt like recovery week, where YouTube is punishing us for taking any time off
Why?
right
So for
now.
me, it was a tough one because I'm trying to recoup from such travel, and like I said,
Yeah.
we talked about it last week. I wasn't necessarily feeling that great on Thursday night,
No.
and it got worse. Friday was even worse for me, and Saturday was like, oh my god. And so I think I was it Greg that commented on the video that I dropped this week. TK, are you okay? Because I sounded different, like a voice wasn't
Yeah.
back to normal, and I wasn't really 100%, but I needed to shoot the, to get the video out. And again,
Mm-hmm.
algorithm gods and all of that good stuff. But yeah, it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get back into a normal groove after all that February travel and then March and MWC kind of done. And now we're kind of like a little bit living more in with the devices that we have. And you had
Yeah.
an interesting device actually. I haven't seen, I don't think you've done dash cams before, right? Or is that the
I haven't done.
okay?
I mean, seriously. So I've gone through quite a few,
Uh-huh.
just
Yeah, yeah.
installing them into our car, and this is the first time where a company really reached out to me and was like, "Hey, do you want to do us like a collaboration?" Or like, "Yeah, that'd be great." And it did turn out to be one of those really lovely, like, "Oh, our family really needed that." Like, we've been using this really old, crappy dash cam. It wasn't crappy. It just, one part, I never took the time to buy all of the extra accessories to
Mm.
install it better.
Oh yeah.
So it was a 1080p dash cam, and it came with like a car charger and a USB cable, but they weren't really long enough to route. So
Hmm.
you would like plug it into the cigarette lighter in your car, and then you could basically just kind of loop it around your steering wheel and get it up on your dashboard.
Exactly.
I really should have at some point gotten one of those car install kits where you can really like tuck the cabling all into your car insulation all the way around and make it look more seamless. But the dash camera company Dpai
Hmm.
reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And when you got their kit had
Everything.
everything. And you're like, oh, I can just do this right,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like right out of the box. That
Makes sense why they're
alone,
giving you like like a spool of wire in there. Yeah.
oh, for sure. I mean, the thing is, I knew I needed that, but once I got the temporary setup set up, I had
Hmm.
so many little adhesive hooks and clips and stuff all over my dashboard. It was just going to be a pain, like ripping all of that back out and then installing it all again. And then the dash camera that we had, the loop record feature, never
Hmm.
really seemed to work like it should have.
Oh, okay.
Where when you run out of space on the card, it starts deleting older clips and starts replacing it with newer clips. I mean, it's pretty, yeah. I think
It's a
people
basic stuff.
understand what a loop record is. But this new one, double cameras, 4K front video, 1080p rear video, and we've been driving it for now over a month,
Oh,
and
nice.
it's just done exactly what we wanted it to do, like the way that they said it was gonna. So this is way better. And I think the company was also just trying to give this a little bit more of a push because like they have like a whole spectrum of cameras, but this
Hmm.
was a camera they originally sold for 250, and now the dual camera kit I think you can pick up for 150.
Oh, not
So
bad. Yeah,
yeah, for a GPS enabled with gyro sensors,
yeah. Hmm.
the like some of the additional wiring kits are extra, but what you get for the dual camera, 150 bucks is pretty good.
It's pretty good.
So
Yeah, yeah. Especially with the
that
kit,
was
like you
really fun
said.
to work with them. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I tried them and not them. I've tried camera setups in the past, and I've always I'll say that I've always felt short of installing the entire thing. Like I would be really excited to install the front version of it, and then when it comes down to wiring the back, I always kind of gave up because I basically like, okay, so it works when you run the wire across, but
Yeah.
that's never going to fly. My wife will never let that happen. So I ended up basically just keeping the front part, and then when we got the Tesla, we kind of stopped needing a camera, so I never really started putting it in
Funny
there. Yeah,
how, like, for all of my complaints about maybe the person who's running the company that made your car, it kills me that so few automobile manufacturers will put in cameras that help you protect your investment.
I don't know why.
It's
Like
like
seriously.
every car manufacturer is just like, well, there's nothing we can do. I guess
Reverse
you're
is all
just
they
screwed.
need. Yeah, exactly. Reverse camera, and then that's it. It's actually just a reverse camera. But yeah, no, I mean, I think in theory, if you think about it, I mean, from a safety perspective, you want to have some type of documentation. If
Yeah,
God forbid something
big
happen,
time.
or and surprisingly, most people don't think about the fact that the rear camera is also very important because
Yeah.
sometimes we don't always get front ended. That's weird, right? It's like how life happens. Um, but yeah, I remember back in the day I used to have when I got into an accident and in my Explorer before the Tesla, that was one of my biggest things. It was like, oh my God, I wish I had a camera. I wish I had the
Yeah.
ability of showing what happened. That it wasn't my fault. It's not always my fault, kind of a thing. But this one you said it was a 4K on the front, and then I'm assuming the recording is that local recording on both, or is it? Oh, hey,
Yeah,
there you go.
yeah. So it local records for both. This
That
is
is
this
actually
is just
pretty.
a sample I shot from the front camera, which again we're compressing this over a stream. But this is I forget exactly what model number it is, but it's a roughly 1/3 inch Sony camera sensor.
Mhm.
And you're like,
Okay.
that's actually pretty good in this class of dash cams. It's
Yeah, yeah.
basically a 2 generation old Sony sensor, and it does a really good job of handling some of those brighter HDR. Like, so here I am driving into sunset,
Oh, yeah. Okay, here we are.
and yeah, I mean, it's
That's not
blown
bad.
out the car in front of me a little bit, but that's pretty good dynamic range for what's going to be $150 worth of dash camera. Like,
Exactly.
you'd
Yeah,
still
yeah.
be able to pull that footage and then use it in
Sun
a,
straight into the camera too.
yeah. And
That
I mean,
is actually really good.
this is like dead on line of sight. The sun
Yeah,
is
this is
in
like
my
I'm assuming
eyeballs.
sunset, not sunrise or sun. Yeah, it looks like a sunset
Yeah,
a
it's a
little bit, but
sunset. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
traveling west. So I've been very impressed with it. I also had like a that really foggy day that we had a couple days ago.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
So I was driving on the 405,
Look at
and
that.
we actually were driving through the clouds that the fog was so bad, and you're like, again, there's not a lot of light. This is like early evening and
Hmm.
fog, and it's doing a pretty good job of also just like drawing out the color of the cars and things like that.
Yeah.
So dash cam technology has come a long way since my not as good 1080p camera
Oh
was
my,
sort of
I've gone through.
suction cupped to the front of my
I've gone through a
dashboard.
few. Yeah, no, no, absolutely. But I think I'm happy that you were able to get something like that and set up, and it's now part
Yeah.
of your daily commute. For everybody that's joining us, welcome. Hopefully, you guys are doing great. I know we kind of jumped straight into the dash cam. I see we have Ron Guido with us. Steve, Malik is in there as well, and Halja Boy is in there as well. Hope you guys are doing well. It's kind of a little bit of a chill week for us. It's not a very busy tech wise, but it's a lot of nice appreciative tech that we have that that makes our
Hmm.
life a little bit easier. I just dropped the video for the scooter that we talked about last week, as we were
Yeah,
talking
that Xiaomi
earlier.
scooter came out great, man.
Oh
Some
my
really
God, I
fun
love
stuff.
riding that scooter. That scooter is the comfort level on that scooter is just next. It's so
Yeah.
good. Like I can't explain how. Like I cannot explain basically how could they make it that good. Like the suspension when you first look at it, when you first see the front
Hmm.
tire and the way the angle of the actual connector is actually kind of almost going backwards, you're feeling like the scooter shouldn't be doing well. And
Right.
no, it's a lot of fun, and you can go over water puddles and stuff like that. And IP55, the water resistance is actually pretty decent. And from last week when I was talking to you, I told you, we could lock it with the app, and that was primarily it.
Hmm.
But otherwise, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been enjoying riding it whenever it's not super like dumping rain on us. So for
Yeah,
the next couple of days,
that front
yeah,
suspension looks legit. I mean, again, it's one of those things I don't even really think about
yeah,
until like yeah, I had a scooter that had a rear suspension, and that made the ride more comfortable.
And
And
most of them do, yeah.
I don't even think about like every single time I take like rough road, and
Yeah.
that front tire gets like dipped into something, and I kind of that you have
And
that
s-
jarring moment. You
exactly.
gotta like, but if you had a front suspension, then that would be a lot more
It
comfortable.
it
So,
helps. It helps also in the maneuverability of it. That it's a little bit taller than the regular, like even than the 4 Pro that I have. I think the
hmm
overall thing about it is, I would say, is they paid attention to the important parts and the things that they've improved. I mean, I feel like it is a better version than the Pro, and if Ultra is the
yeah.
next name, then it would be an Ultra. I don't, like I said, I mean, I almost felt like it was probably, yeah, like a 2023 edition, since the 4 Pro came out in
hmm
2022. But we don't know. Maybe they're going to have a 5 Pro that comes out later on with
Yeah,
slightly
and then
different
they can do
configuration.
like a mega, and then like an omniverse, and
Yes.
then you could just keep building
Well,
on
then
top
we
of
just
all
need the
that.
hoverboard. We just need a hoverboard at that point. Just take out the handle, take the wheels in the
You
back,
need power.
give us the levitation, and just go, dude. Just go, have at it.
Just
I think
wondering,
that's
like,
what
how much electromagnetic radiation would you actually be generating to suspend
a full
someone on
grown
a board floating above the ground? Like, the
and
energy on that.
I want to say Lexus did some type of tests, like I want to say a few years back. They were trying to build, essentially they're using, I forgot what it was. It is electromagnetic energy, but it was cooled. Like
hmm
they froze it, and it was like basically you could only ride it for a few meters or maybe a few feet or something like that. That was the
Oh, I've seen
extent of
some
it.
of those experiments where if you, I want to say it's something like you you you're already using some sort of magnetic
Hmm.
system, but
Yeah,
then
like a
if you
platform
super
with
cool
exactly.
that area, it's like you can almost freeze magnetism in place in space. So some of that stuff is cool, but what I mean is like, I just think it's cute, because we're past Back to the Future 2. That is
We
now
did.
the past.
It is
We're,
in the
we're now
past
in the future of Back to
of
the
that.
Future 2, and
Uh,
they just casually have gravity defying electromagnetic systems, and you're like, how much energy would you need to generate to suspend a human body just bouncing off of the magnetic and gravitational forces of the earth?
yep.
And I feel like that is a nuclear quantity of energy, not something that you could just charge
Okay, so
like off of a home
what you're
outlet.
telling me is we're a few years apart away from Back to the Future 2
Right?
technology, although we're beyond it. I
Yeah,
understand. All you're telling
yeah,
me, it's not a
for
challenge. We
for
just need
sure.
to send
We
somebody
need
to the
Mr.
future.
Fusion.
Mr.
That's what
Fusion,
I mean. Is like
absolutely. Yeah,
it is
Doc. We just
it's
need to bring Doc back in.
a quantity of energy that you can't even quantify in gigawatts.
Absolutely. But apparently banana peels will do, and table scrubs will definitely do, because that's Back to the Future. But yeah, no, sorry. We're just kind of like, shooting the, I was going to say we're not going to get demonetized,
I think
shooting
I
the
still
shit.
have. Do I have my little collector? I don't know if I. Oh, I think I do. I have my little collector Back to the Future mini hoverboard.
Hey, see? You're part of the club.
My little prop replica. It's still super dusty. I used to leave it out. Let's see.
Yeah,
It's
no.
got. This is a 1/5 scale replica of the Back to the Future 2 hoverboard.
One
I don't.
fifth. That's not that bad. Okay.
So it's on this little plate right here.
Ah, okay.
Doo, doo,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. With the
doo.
reflective mirrors, so it kind of looks like it's yeah. No, I get it. It's nice. It's
Ah,
nice. It was a
just
collector
dropping
item.
stuff. I'm fine.
It's
Fine. We're doing it live.
that was my department, by the way. I'm the one usually dropping things and don't even know what they are. Um, so yeah,
Ooh,
no.
got a hair on it.
Dang it,
I'm just
it's
gonna
not
put this
mine.
back away before I do
No, no, no,
something
no,
dumb.
absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna say
It's
whatever it
fine.
is. It is not mine. I'm good. Not physically possible.
One of these streams we should just do hey, here's the random junk that we just keep decorating our offices. And like, here are all my
Dude,
Vegetas. Here are all of your Gokus.
yeah. Oh, but no, I just pre-ordered the what's it called? The Ultimate Gohan from Superhero in Beast mode. So basically Beast Gohan.
Nice.
What's it called? Bandai had the pre-order for August, so I'm gonna have to wait till August. But between that one and then I think Omar ordered the Future Trunks with the sword. So they're
Oh,
releasing a new
nice.
edition. I'm debating on orange Piccolo. I don't know if I want to go. I mean, he kind of looks cool, but I'm like, I already have a Piccolo. Do I really need an orange version? Because it's a different, more, meched out
See,
kind of a thing. I don't know.
to me, and I don't want to call out your collection, but I feel like you like Piccolo, but he's not a cornerstone of your Dragon Ball Z fandom.
Yeah,
Because
I
to
feel
me,
like
it's like I love some of the different variations on Megatron,
yeah,
but my Transformers collection is almost entirely Optimus Prime and Soundwave. Those are my
those are your
I need to
yeah.
buy unreasonable amounts of junk characters. And if I get a Megatron along the way, that's cool. I have a Unicron. I've got a
Yeah.
Starscream. I've got, I have a couple tracks because my grandfather was really into classic Corvettes,
Hmm.
and Trax is a classic Corvette. So I've got some of those things, but like my knee jerk must buys are Optimus and Soundwave.
Of course. Yeah.
So I feel like you can pass on this Piccolo. I think you can let that one go.
I'm okay with it right now. I just like, Bandai is like, hey, you pre-ordered two things out of our site. Maybe you'd like to yeah,
Hmm.
they're trying to reel me in with it was like, hey, complete the
Have you
collection with this guy.
considered spending more
What?
money on this?
I have and I've passed. I've been looking for Beast Gohan since obviously since the movie. I feel like it's the epic part of that movie
Yeah.
where Gohan redeems, the completion or the conclusion of the Dragon Ball Z series as Gohan and Goku, and how that we always knew he had more potential. We never seen the potential, and of
Right.
course, Piccolo is always kind of like that second dad or the actual dad figure in Gohan's life at least.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, you're right. Like for me, it's always going to be Goku, Gohan, Gotang. Like it's always going to be that lifeline there, or even Bardock or anything like that. If we go back further up, um, but I'm excited. I'm excited. I saw. I think was it last week. They're coming up with a new Budokai version, the version 4, I think,
Nice.
that's going to be with
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
better animation. So that's really exciting. Omar and I love that style of fighting, the open space fighting, as opposed to Fighter Z, which is more of a like Mortal Kombat and
Yeah.
Street Fighter style. So yeah, long story, extremely long. Yeah, it's exciting stuff. August is going to be fun. We'll have a couple of new toys added to the collection.
Yeah.
That's not bad. How is the Optimus Prime? Did you end up returning it, or is that still there?
Shut up. They
Okay,
haven't
sorry.
asked for it back yet. And
Crap.
then I did just pull him back out of the box, but I'd let his battery go. So I'm gonna start trying to do a few like, can I get Optimus Prime to do like TikTok dances? So I'm gonna
So
play around a
I
little bit.
connected with
The
them in
programming
January.
on Optimus is a little clunky, but I want
Okay.
to start with just like a really simple like pop and lock,
Hmm.
and just see if I can get his arms to
Have
sort
him
of
have him
articulate in
introduce you
that
to
way.
videos, man. Just set up some programming where he'll do the physical gestures that you normally would do, and just have him in the shot. You know, like go back to being the director and let Optimus be the star. I think you'll be fine. I think a lot of cool kids will come and show up for Optimus.
So
A lot of
I want to play with that. I feel like I've finally figured out at least a semi-consistent strategy of throwing a short up a week,
them.
where I've been doing like some of the Patreon questions that we'll get on the
I saw
community
that one.
tab or in
Yeah,
some of
yeah,
the
yeah.
comments. But I also kind of want to flesh that out. Like I'm gonna try and maintain some dignity, so
Mhm.
I'm not gonna just dance for YouTube Shorts or dance for Reels or whatever. But that
No.
doesn't mean I can't make Optimus dance.
Yeah.
And
No, no,
so I
and
want to try and see if I can,
he's
if
really cool.
that's
Yeah. Some of the stuff
right.
I saw, well, come on, like I mean, seriously, the things they were able to do. Obviously, they had a different version of Prime, but still, the fact that
Hmm.
they've thought of this very very well, and they've designed it very well. The servos, the
Yeah.
motors, and all the functions that you're able. It's literally the only limitation is your imagination, and which is nice. Not so true in
Even
most.
in the
Yeah.
built-in movements,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they've
Yeah.
got one where like I just want to watch Optimus Prime do push-ups, and
I
you
just
push
want
a
him standing
button,
there and do that breathing effect.
just
Like
drops.
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, what? Yeah, he's about to
Whoa.
kick my ass. You're like, yeah, no. Twitch call. Hope everybody's doing good. But yeah, do Douglas the Prophet? Yeah, definitely. It was literally one of my favorite games. We had it on Xbox, and we
Hmm.
also had it on. I think it was Xbox 360 was the last one. And one of the reasons why we never got rid of the Xbox 360 is because those games never kind of upscaled. They never made them
No.
compatible into new consoles. So you had to keep the system to play them. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited. The graphics look good. Super Saiyan Blue is going to be brought in there, and of course some of the other new characters that we have from the manga or from the saga. Sorry, I don't think if they're going to bring some of the manga stuff because I think that's slightly ahead.
Yeah, but again, it's still like I feel like that is we've seen so many other attempts at doing like kart racers, brawlers, and
mhm.
fighting games.
Yep.
What I'm trying to remember, there's like another free to play fighting game, but it's like Hanna-Barbera characters or something like that. But it's sort of
Really?
in the vein of Smash Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Um, is it multiverses? Is that what it's called?
So is Yogi Bear fighting with
Hold on,
the?
no, I don't think it's, or maybe it's Looney Tunes. I can't
Oh, maybe
remember.
Looney Tunes. Yeah, I was gonna say when you said Hanna Barbera, I'm like, isn't that like Yogi Bear's territory?
Multiverses, a game of multiverse battles. I no, that might not be it.
I know Capcom has their own battle royale, which actually kind of combined with X-Men, which was so they have like these cross-platform fighter games. And then of course you had what's it called, Street Fighters, and that also kind of jumped into that universe as well. And then you have Spider-Man and Marvel and multiverses. Oh my
Yeah.
god!
So
Oh,
this
look
is
at
like a
that!
Super Smash Brothers, but
Uh huh.
with uh like
Look
they've
at
got the
Shaggy.
Scooby
Shaggy grew the
Doo, they've
beard.
got
Yeah, yeah,
Tom and
yeah. I saw.
Jerry.
Yeah.
So it's not Hanna Barbera, but Looney Tunes, DC characters. Look,
Oh yeah. Wonder
you can
Woman's in
fight as
there,
LeBron James and Rick and Morty.
and the
Um,
Titans in there as well. Like, dude,
yeah.
they shrunk them down.
Um, so I get. Hey, we've got
Yeah.
all this IP and we want to do something silly and we want to like make a fighting game out of it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Same thing, Crash Bandicoot. I
I
really
remember.
like
Yeah.
Crash Team Racing, and then
Yep.
there's also going to be Crash Team Rumble, which I think
Okay.
is going to be another Super Smash Brothers kind of clone. All of these things don't make nearly as much sense as making a fighting game out of Dragon Ball. Like, you could not have better designed a piece of media in a lab to eventually become a fighting game than
Exactly. It's like
martial
literally
artists who compete in a
all they
tournament
do. Yeah,
every
in
year
tournament,
and all
every
they do is
episode.
fight
Exactly.
intergalactic fighters in other tournaments.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
It is incredible to me that Dragon Ball Z doesn't actually occupy an even higher mind share of the
So
fighting game
they're
universe. Like
they're doing
Street Fighter
really
is going to be huge, and
Street
Mortal
Fighters
Kombat
also
is huge,
always been.
but
Yep. Yep.
Dragon Ball. I mean, come on, that's like a no brainer.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. And I'll say the news came out of left field for us, and then when I saw it, I was like, oh my god, my jaw was on the floor. So it was like it was that
Ah,
excitement level. But speaking of games and things like that, I did get a chance. Well, like, not to kind of segue it too far. Uh,
now let's segue.
later,
We're not on any script. I
any
mean, we
schedule.
started trying to talk about like, yeah, let's talk about that dash cam that you were doing. Like
What?
the Dpai dash cam was great. You can catch my
Yeah,
video. I really enjoyed
absolutely.
it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Now we're
It's on the
talking
page.
about video games.
Video
So
games, and I'm actually kind of take a very hard left and go to talk about last Sunday's finale episode of, the rest of us. I'm sorry, the Last of Us.
wow. Okay,
Yeah, that
that's
is
like
well,
shifting from fifth to third. Let's do it.
fifth to third, and mostly because of Mortal Kombat, the game that's obviously that showcases in there. And I'm not gonna lie, I sped through the series as I didn't. I tried to take it slowly. We watched the first episode, my wife and I, and she got
It's pretty
hooked,
grim
and
though,
it
right?
was good. And we did kind of do it like slowly. And I say slowly by means I was sick. I was sitting on the couch. I wasn't going anywhere. I was like, let's just start watching. And then you start seeing the character development, Ellie and stuff. And I'm just for anybody that's watching the show, obviously it's over. The season finale was last Sunday. I'm sure a lot of people already kind of talked about it. And if you played the game, you already know how it ended. There's no surprise there. Um, I was surprised actually how that the scene at the end when they were doing that recap with Ellie and her friend, I forgot her name, with the
Hmm.
arcade and hanging out and all of that, and the just the overall story development was just amazing for me. I liked
Yeah.
it. I loved the attention to detail. Bringing Ellie's mom, it's the actual person that plays Ellie
Hmm.
as in the game.
She's
That was
also the cute waitress from the Avengers who's got kind of a crush on Captain America.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, I mean, they've both been in. I've seen them in many other
Oh,
shows. I mean,
she's
obviously,
done tons of stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
actually a friend of a friend of a friend. When I
yeah.
was doing more voiceover casting, we would end up at parties together. She was really, really nice.
Yeah,
And like
yeah.
it was right after she'd had that little bit part in the Avengers, and everyone would be like, "Oh my god, what was it like working with Captain America?" And she was like, "I don't know, because we're not really on set at the same time."
Man,
You know?
I know. It's it is yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised when people like they're like, "Hey, but you were in the movie." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not like we're all got
Yeah.
together. We sit down and hold hands and
No.
okay, it's like okay, you're up now. Okay, I'll see you later, bro."
If you
No,
notice,
it's
like, there's like a cut, and then he's in a different scene in a
yeah.
different part of the set than she
That
is. Yeah. So
yeah, could have
anyway.
been days, weeks, years later. God depends where. It's one of those things like you have to kind of appreciate the methodology and the science behind how they do it, because when you look at it on camera, it's like, oh my God, yeah, they're all
They're
best
making
friends.
it
I'm like,
look easy.
they
Yeah.
do, they do. But
But
yeah, that was
so
a good show.
Last of Us,
Yeah,
you didn't follow my advice was don't try and sit
we'll try to
down
power through it.
and binge it like all in one straight shot. But
So,
it doesn't seem to have done you too much harm. So you seem
um,
like you're doing
well,
okay.
yes and no.
Well, okay, just
I did not take enough time to recover from the episode with that the cult. I'll call them the cult
right
basically. That yeah, I did
for
not have
sure.
enough time to recover from that, and even Ellie didn't recover enough from that
No.
with the last episode. So yeah, that was a tough one.
So
Yeah,
did you play the game at all? Because I
I
did
have
not roll
no.
credits on the first Last of Us.
Yeah, no, I have not. The only thing I will say is, ever since I finished it, for some reason, TikTok knows that I finished, and now all I can see is comparison shots between the game and the video. So that they really stuck the landing on this one
Yeah.
exactly how it's supposed to be. And I heard also that we're going to see a season two, although not
hmm
necessarily based on the game. It's going to deviate, obviously, more a little bit more creative on their side, which I feel like it's a good story. But
I'll
I
be
want to try
curious
it.
to see. I'll be curious to see. I have a philosophical issue with the way that we talk about narrative in video games,
Mhm.
and that there's so much. The Last of Us is so deserving of accolades. The Last of Us, the TV show, is so deserving of accolades because it's a very well produced, cinematic, engaging, dramatic
Yeah,
piece of
fair.
media. It
Absolutely.
is a phenomenally well done television show. My wife would never have any interest in playing the games, but she's watched through the entire first season, and I think we've appreciated the experience, even if it was a little grim dark, and we've been trying to just watch some lighter fare.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it was engrossing, and it kept us hooked. So we were invested in the story.
yeah.
Um, I still feel like there's a little bit of that snide. Now that we've told the story on TV, we've told it in the more artistic way. And being a fan of playing games, and I didn't finish the first Last of Us video game, I feel like the dramatic storytelling potential of the game, where where the player has agency over the characters,
Mhm.
is actually the more appropriate venue. Like the story was designed around that and game
Oh,
mechanics
absolutely.
first, and I feel like there are moments into the very last episode that lose some of the significance of why that was a critical moment in the video game,
Yes. I
because
would I can imagine.
now it's a passive viewing experience, and there's none of the tension of you controlling the player character, managing your resources, trying to evade certain enemies and take out other enemies.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
in the TV show, what would be a very visceral moment for a passive viewer, to me, ends up falling flat, because I remember those moments of like, you're constantly foraging for resources. Like The Last of Us is just a punishing game when it comes to that kind of
Yeah, we've never
resource
seen them
management.
once look for almost well, like that's not true. Like the can Chef Boyardee cans every once in a while will show up, but yeah, you're right. They
Right.
which apparently we're supposed to be able to eat 10 years later, which is fine. Okay, so now we know Chef Boyardee for the win. We just need to build a bunker with that. Yeah, they always almost never the story kind of like just develops into they always have something to eat.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about where to go.
Well,
All the little things that we normally would have
I,
had to done. Yeah.
so that's the point Marie and I kind of got stuck on is the game you can spend longer in that universe in the first game than all of the collected media that they shot and produced for the TV show. So there's just moments of the TV show that feel overly abbreviated.
Yeah.
And so we don't have I'm not saying it would be interesting television because that's a passive viewing experience, but it's interesting gameplay when
Yeah.
you have to deal with things like finding ammo, right? That is not fun to watch someone like loot buildings and corpses hoping to find a couple more shells for a rifle. Like that's
Yeah.
not engaging storytelling. You do that in a montage in television, but when you're the player character and you're trying to survive a game. I'm speaking so broadly and generally because I don't want to spoil things because the finale was pretty recent. I mean, I would be digging more into specifics here if I felt more comfortable, if other people were maybe going to try and watch this. Now that the entire season has finished, I
Mhm.
know all of those. I have several friends that are really into. I'll watch it when it's done. They don't
And
like watching week to week. So I'm
that was
still
my
trying to
philosophy.
be
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm still trying not to dig into spoilers and stuff.
We
But there are so many of those moments. Sorry, the last point, and I'll shut up.
The
But that
last
was
point
the
about The
last.
Last of Us. Yeah.
That was the last thing that I think Marie and I kind of walked away from that season going. Some of those moments would have landed a little bit harder if there are a few episodes that really should have been 2 episodes, but they condensed so much story into one
Hmm.
mini arc, one
Hmm.
hour long arc that
Yeah. Yeah.
you
There
lose
was a couple of
some of the
those. Yeah.
emotional impact. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No. No. Exactly. I felt like there was a couple of episodes that could have been their own little movie, almost like
Yeah.
the way they
Oh, for
did it.
sure.
Yeah, no,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
Bill and was it Bill and Frank? That episode
Yeah.
was very well done. Actually, it was surprising.
That was that was
The,
amazing, and it was
yeah.
amazing because I think they
Oh, that was
stayed on
episode
that
3.
story.
Yeah.
The episode 3 is the emotional core of the
Oh,
entire series.
absolutely. You don't know it gets you till the end, but yeah, yeah,
But see, that's exactly what I mean is that story took an entire episode. Then 2 episodes later, it's like, hey, we meet these people, but then we leave these people, and then we go to this other place, and then that place turns out to not be what we needed, and now we fight someone totally different. And you're like, you know what? That actually was 2.5 episodes of content that you squished into an hour, but you gave me this amazing meal in episode 3 that
yeah.
was its own unique standalone story in this universe. So that's what I'm hoping season 2 is more of that self-contained 1 hour narrative
I
and a
think that
little
would be
bit
better.
less of
Yeah,
like a season-long arc where you're squishing gameplay moments
to make
into tiny little moments. Instead, expand this universe, show me more of this world beyond just Joel and Ellie,
mhm.
and give me more of those season 3 kinds of episodes, and I think we're in for a wild ride. And
I
it won't be as contingent on abbreviating the player experience because it's no longer an interactive
Well, and I
medium.
feel like the way the season 1 was built, it was built to reach that ending. The ending had to end the
Yeah,
way it was, and as you said, some condensing was kind of put in there, and I think that's primarily why we saw some one episode basically develop very good, and then but then
yeah,
Joel and Ellie show up at the end of it. It's like, oh, okay, so this entire episode was for us to know why there's a blue truck. Okay, we get it now.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, no, I know it took me through a few ups and downs, and to a certain point I was very happy that he found his brother, and I was also happy in certain portions in that because it
Mm-hmm.
starts building up almost like a Game of Thrones where you're starting to
Sure.
lose main characters. And like by
Yeah.
episode 2 I was like, wait a minute, are we doing Game of Thrones? Did Pedro not realize this is not this? Are they we're gonna just basically by every episode we lose one main character? Is that how it is? um I just yeah, it was by episode 3 we kind of also lost a couple of characters, but we also got introduced to them in episode 3. So long story is,
Mm,
it's a good show to watch. There is a few parts where you probably want to have some time to understand and digest.
right.
Episode 8 was a hard one for me because
Mm-hmm.
it took a sharp turn left, and I was like not expecting it. Like I did not see the way the ending was coming. Again, because I've never played the game, so I never knew that part of the
Right.
that part of the work there, and he was doing such a good job making it look like he's just a, it just felt like it was just a cult. Like you're like, oh, okay, okay, I know
Mm-hmm.
what that kind of figure is going to be, but then no, it goes grim, and then so yeah. So long story
And
is,
it starts grim and it goes
it
way
but
heavier.
it goes way heavier. Yeah, yeah. No, it just it's like,
Right.
it's like when you're watching Game of Thrones and you're like, hey, okay,
Marie and
Pedro's
I,
coming out right now, and he's flipping his sword.
yeah.
He's gonna kick the mountain's air, and then 2 minutes later, you're like, ooh,
Ooh. Marie
oh,
and I danced around a lot
yeah,
where the show gives you just enough to, I think, keep you invested. But there were a couple episodes where we left that show going, I don't see how anyone would even try.
yeah,
The show almost gets to the road of like almost pure dark negative nihilism. Why would anyone try to survive this experience? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense to try and survive this. And then the next episode would give you just a little bit that you could see, like, okay, there's like a glimmer of the human condition and spirit, but it rides that line very effectively. And
yeah.
and so now that you've seen the show, does this encourage you to maybe go back and check out the
Oh, I
games?
would love to actually. Yeah, no, no. I would love to see basically or like it's like watching a movie and then reading the book. I know it's kind of like you're doing it backwards, but um, when you do so, you realize what you miss.
Yeah,
Because if you read the book, you'll also catch it obviously if you read the book first and then you kind of watch the movie, because then you're like, wait a minute, hold on a second, that's not how this is supposed to be. They're really
right?
very creative in this area. But no, no, I would love to be able to basically see the mechanics and play the games. And again, from all of the things I've caught on, not to make it sound like it's the best source, but like TikTok and so on, the graphics are actually pretty decent, like really
Oh
good,
yeah.
like open world and everything. So yeah, I
Oh yeah.
definitely, it'll be one of my next games to play
Even
once I have a PC to play games on. Yeah, I'll
Oh
have to do that.
no! But even
I'm still
without the
there.
the
Yeah.
sort of the refreshed and the re-release, I forget exactly what the remasters or whatever. I mean, I think there's going to be yet another version of the first Last of Us to come back out with another
Another,
coat of polish on it.
the
I
Last of
only
Us.
played OG original first release Last of Us, and to my memory, it's still like it still looks great. I was joking around with Paul on my Discord,
Hmm.
and we're both of us really into picking up older games. And if you haven't, there's a subreddit called Patient Gamers, and
Okay.
it's people who are like, "Hey, I just found Half-Life 2. Have you guys ever played this game? This game's awesome." You're like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome to the club. I'm
Well,
glad you could finally have this experience from 15 years
The Last of
ago."
Us. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Last of Us Part One, Part Two, and then the last, yeah, the ones left behind. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I'm on their site. I was still trying to see if I could download it, but it looks like they have it on PlayStation too. I may just get it from my PS5.
Well, so are you gonna go PS5 or
Well, it's because
oh, I
the
guess it's not on sale.
Xbox is what was I going to say? The Xbox is in the living room, so if I wanted to play that, I'll have to live in
Yeah.
it. So the PlayStation's in my studio here, so I can actually just if I
Well,
want to just
I
spend
was
some
gonna
time.
say we are in the middle, or no, excuse, not in the middle. We're at the very, very beginning
Hmm.
of the Steam Spring Sale,
Oh yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. Let's bring that up. Let's bring it up.
The
Sorry, yeah,
Last of
that's good.
Us is not on sale. So
Okay,
this won't help you here, but Last of Us Part 1 is a $60 game.
of
Uh,
course 60. Well, that's the remastered, but yeah, yeah. No, man, look at that.
so
It does look
that's
nice.
not yeah, I think this still looks great, and especially when we kind of go through, or is Steam not going to let me play anything while I'm on stream? That seems wrong. But yeah, in terms of gameplay mechanics, and again, when you see like these kinds of stills from
Yeah,
the
that's
game,
your
and you know that
yeah.
there were sequences in the TV show that they did an amazing job of kind of lining up the cinematography. But I think that just goes to show how cinematic the video game experience has become. And I still find it a little upsetting. You'll run into those conversations where it's like, well, now that Last of Us has been done as a TV show, it's been done actually artistically.
Yeah.
There's almost a little sense of that still that's left over, that we can't seem to quite get rid of. Um, when almost shot for shot, it's like they pulled the video game as storyboards for
Yeah,
the
they're like,
TV show.
it's like, it's like, Pedro's asking, it's like, hey, how do you want me to be this? Like, hold on a second,
Hold
roll the
on.
cue, roll
Yeah,
the
right.
footage,
And
roll
he's
the
just like,
footage.
okay, I've been, can you just
So
green
good.
screen that and I can like line up right there? Okay, good.
Yeah, just put it right there as I'm looking. Yeah, no, I think if anything, like I said, and I just saw Ron Guido's joke. Uh, make sure you have some snack food when you're watching
Finger
episode 8.
food handy.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God, yes,
Waka
definitely.
waka.
It was definitely like I said, 3 was a pleasure, 8 was a nightmare, and the rest have a good
Oh, there were a few.
good.
There were a
There
few
no,
that
there
were
are they are, but
also
I felt like 8
nightmarish.
just took it dark. Like all the other one. Well, actually, I take that back. The last episode, especially after he goes back after the Fireflies, that was like, okay, wow, what in the like, oh, like Joel character has a very no nonsense
He,
about him. Like he will
yeah,
just go and do the thing.
he's a man of very particular talents, and he's very good
Exactly.
at what he does.
Absolutely. And when you hear that about him at the beginning, like how him like how he's like, we need you to
Oh
carry, we
yeah,
need you to transport, and we're like, okay, he is basically a methodical killer. And he goes into that hospital, and like in my mind, my wife and I were like kind of like arguing with, not arguing, but like talking about the fact the doctor turns around with a small scalpel, tiny little scalpel. He's like, I'm not letting you take her. And he's like, and in one shot, like, I'm like, well, okay, I mean, Joel, you could have just shot the leg or something. Maybe told him go stand to the side. No, it was like, you out. No more chances of you operating on this. And
right.
um, and then you also kind of get the whole father figure kind of
Mm-hmm.
attachment to it, because you see the development of that story after episode 8. His demeanor changes. It's no
Yeah,
longer the "let's go, kid." It's more of the "you reminded me of my daughter," and they
yeah.
start talking about Sarah, and I'm like, okay,
But
okay,
it,
this,
it is again. I liked the turn the Joel storyline, and again from knowing a bit more of what happens in the game also.
yeah,
There's almost an Unforgiven quality to it. You know, like Clint Eastwood in that Western, he's sort of this bumbling old has been, and then there's a turn in Unforgiven, and you see the switch flip, and it's gutting, and it hurts the audience when all of the reputation then becomes true. And my wife was actually commenting on that earlier. Like, everybody keeps acting like Joel is this total monster, but we
yeah,
haven't
exactly.
seen anything to this
Nope.
point that make us feel like Joel's, oh, there it is.
Yep.
There's the moment that
There's
everyone was
the
warning us about with
yeah,
Joel.
because you don't yeah, like 90% of the time you see just like that more of a, I'm not gonna say like a timid, but more of like a man on a mission. He just needs to get it done. He's protecting her.
He's gruff and cautious, and you're like,
Mhm.
actually, that's not so bad for this post-apocalyptic world. That's how you
Which
would be.
you would imagine, yeah, exactly. With the amount
But
of
then
times they
there's
were
the
jumped.
Unforgiven moment, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
oh, I get it now.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So not to kind of, obviously we've kind of, I don't know if we spoiled so much of it, but I mean realistically, if you're in the process or if you waited, it's a good show. It's a good show to watch. I would probably space it out over a couple of days. I would not try to power through it. It is literally only
I
9
told
episodes,
you.
but they're about an hour or so each episode. And there's, like I said, like right now, I probably would want to go back and rewatch a couple just to kind of recapture some of those
But I was
details.
telling you, you wanted like time in between some of those episodes to like stand up, put your hands on your hips, sort of
And you're
breathe
like,
through your teeth for a
and then
moment.
do it till your handles like, I don't know why I'm watching the show and all, like, yeah. All I have to say is, yeah, I mean, they had, I was pretty much a captive audience. I wasn't going anywhere. And it was a good show. It was a good show, and I appreciated it. And I think overall, I'm kind of sad that it's over, but it was nice. And then it
Yeah.
kind of ended like right after the Oscars, so I didn't even watch the Oscars. I saw a lot of the highlights there, but was happy to see everything everywhere. No, wait, everything
Everything everywhere all at once.
all at once, exactly. Which I told my wife she has to watch. She's like, I started watching it, but I never, like, you gotta watch it. You got to
It's like
watch it. And then
she tapped out just as they were getting to the IRS building. Like,
probably as they're sitting in front of Jamie Lee. No, and then Omar wants to watch it too. And I told him, I said, look, we can watch it, but there's a very specific scene we need to skip. Like an entire portion of that fight scene just needs to be skipped. There's just nothing about it. I don't know. Like he's just, he aspires to watch everything. And I think to a
sure.
certain point, with the exception of that one part, I really, I mean, there's a few weird things in there, but it doesn't really
No,
stand out too much.
what I like is that it is an action sci-fi comedy drama about mothers and daughters set
Hmm.
in the best multiverse setting
And
that we've
bagels.
seen
Let's
in
not forget
film.
bagels. I love the fact that bagels were in there.
And it's it embraces how silly its premise is. Like,
Hmm.
it doesn't say, "Oh, this is wacky and anything can happen because multiverse and look at all of these wacky other dimensions," and then it gets real dark and edgy and grounded.
Yep.
No, it establishes its premise and then it gets even sillier and more absurd as the
Yep.
movie goes on.
The
And
different quirks or yeah, that how creative they were getting into quirks and
I
figure out how to
love
activate the
that.
powers. Yes. No, I know.
So I was a big fan. I was really glad, and also just not your traditional Oscar bait, because
Exactly.
the Academy Awards are usually like, period drama of people looking constipated,
Well, no,
and
no,
like
or
this
they'll
movie
go with
is
like a really
completely not.
dark, scary Korean, movie. We've seen those before. I mean, don't get me wrong.
A
I
few. I
understand.
mean, like
Yeah,
Parasite is actually kind of an anomaly, but I mean, it's like it's either a biopic of someone famous
yeah,
or like a period drama of repressed romance and lust,
exactly.
or it's like it's always something kind of Oscar baity in that range. And to see the wacky, madcap, zany silliness of Everything Everywhere All at Once was just incredibly refreshing.
Yeah,
I don't hold this movie up as any kind of high cinema in a traditional Criterion Collection, highbrow kind of way. And this is a movie that is always going to be on my list of like, I loved the experience of watching this movie for watching it just continue to devolve into absurdity. And I think they
I
actually managed to stick the landing at the end.
they did, and I think that was the big bring back story and bringing it, and then and realistically bringing it like, oh no, wait, this actually is a lot simpler. It's not just about fighting the all evil bad guy or girl in this
Mm-hmm.
situation. There's a premise behind it that love is needed, and parents can actually ignore their kids to a point where their kids rebel, and this was literally just to a certain point a big version of that.
Yeah.
But the way they brought it at the end, it was like just
But with
nice.
also Michelle Yeoh being a badass fighter. So
Oh no, absolutely, a
it was
fighter, a dancer, a cook.
absolutely incredible.
That one universe where their hot dogs for fingers, that was like
Hmm.
okay.
And
Oh
then
my god.
I also I mean I would have flipped my lid if that movie didn't win its best editing award,
Oh my god. Okay, yeah.
because
So,
the
and the
mess of
fact
this
that the
movie, that it is stapled together as well as it
I
is
I
an
saw a
incredible
clip.
accomplishment.
I saw there was an editor that was talking about first and foremost, that entire movie was edited in Premiere,
Yeah.
from home, and it was not edited in a massive studio. It was edited in Premiere, and there was a guy on TikTok talking about the timeline. He showed a picture of the timeline and how messy the timeline was.
Oh yeah.
Like it was like this scatter plot of God knows what, and at the end you're like, wait, that's the movie. So
Yeah. It's a
it is
literal
truly,
shotgun blast of clips of
yeah,
scenes
and
of
jump
yeah.
cuts and add transitions and sound effects and color grading, a whole bunch of different things. I can imagine it would be a nightmare to work in a timeline like that, or if it even crashes on you, you're like, I do not want to be in that
Well, and then also
light.
let's be real. It wasn't if Premiere crashes on you, but how
Like
bad
how
Premiere
badly, yeah,
crashes on
how
you.
badly are you able to recover from that crash? So to me, it was always interesting there, and but yeah, no, it was like I said, it was that was about my main takeaway out of the Oscars. I think I was happy about that, and then of course, 9 p.m. where we started to kind of watch The Last of Us, and we finished it on Monday morning. It was getting late. Omar had to go to sleep. We couldn't stay up too late, so we kind of the whole timing. But
Totally
anyways,
fair.
let's
But
let's go
we
back actually to Steam. Yeah, let's talk a little bit
yeah,
more about
I was
Steam.
gonna
Yeah,
fire this
exactly.
back
Since you
up. So how many games have you bought for the spring sale?
I
I have currently
I don't
spent
have a PC. I haven't been able to open. I have not opened Steam.
It doesn't. You know what?
Liv-
Steam
I know
doesn't
it
wait
lives
for
on
you to
this.
have a PC. You buy all of the games that you need to buy for your sale, and then when you have a PC, you can play those games. And it's not like you
Absolutely.
don't have another device that
No,
could
no, no, no. Absolutely.
also
The Steam Deck
be
would
playing
absolutely
some
be.
games. Because I this was actually kind of a big bit of news was that for the first time since its launch, there is a 10% off
Yeah, yeah.
price reduction on the Steam Deck. So now
I
the
see that in there. Yep.
512 gig version with the anti-glare etched glass is now it was MSRP $650. Now
Yep.
you
That's
can
how much.
pick it up for 580. So like you know, again, I think it's exciting when a company sort of realizes like a little sale here and there isn't going to wreck the perceived value of this product. And
Oh
we know
no,
that
no,
the Steam
absolutely.
Deck is going to kind of kick around in this state for a while. So a 10% off, that's a good time to jump on a Steam Deck if you haven't already managed to grab one for yourself.
Yeah, yeah, and definitely if you do, make sure to pick up God of War. God of War is also on sale for $30 again. It's actually a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
I see what's the Gotham Knights in there, or oh, you're in the accurate list there. Okay, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
so this is the top 100 games played on the Steam
Oh, for
Deck.
Steam Deck, yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy is currently the top played game.
I haven't got into
Vampire
that yet.
Survivors. So
Good, yeah.
it's hilarious. Vampire Survivors is actually on sale again. So it is down from 4.99 to 3.99.
Oh my God,
So
it was a
if you
steal at
have not
4.99.
yet
Yeah.
played the genius bullet hell style gameplay of Vampire Survivors, you can absolutely jump on that now for a whole dollar off, which is 20% off.
It is
Um,
20% if you think about it. Yeah, $5.
So we've got The Witcher 3, we've got Elden Ring. Elden Ring is not on sale. This is
Yeah.
the one that I picked up. So when I was making the joke about me being a part of that Patient Gamers subreddit,
Hmm.
Hades, action roguelite, sort of a
I've been always
dungeon
yeah.
crawler.
I've seen it on sale a few times. Yeah, I wanted to kind of pick it up, and it was always like, do I want to pay money for it? And I always end up honestly at the time when I was looking at it, I
Hmm.
looked at God of War and I chose to go to God of War
Yeah.
more. But
It was
yeah, no,
funny. I saw
Hades
the
is
last time it was on sale, I did the exact same thing where I don't need to buy both games right now, but
yeah.
Hades was on sale and God of War was on sale. I think we bought God of War at the same time.
It was no, no. I actually remember I reached back to you and I'm like, hey, dude, it's
Yeah.
on sale now. Pick it up. And I'm like, yeah. But Hades is down to 12.50. Man, that is actually a really
So
good game.
Hades is 50% off. Hades
Yeah.
looks like it was a great game to play for its $25 price. It is that kind of indie isometric dungeon crawler, roguelite, sort of a not quite pixel art, but kind of a voxel art style
Hmm.
game. And right now you can pick it up for $12, $12.50. So I snatched up Hades, and then I got a bunch of older games too that I've just been wanting to kind of revisit and noodle around on. But rounding out the Steam Deck top games, Persona 5,
Hmm.
Cyberpunk 2077, Red Dead Redemption 2, Spider-Man Remastered is $40. That's pretty good.
That's actually really nice. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Cult of the Lamb, that got a lot of positive buzz, and that's one that I want to check out, but I haven't gotten around to it. Stray, Grand Theft Auto
I
5,
did pick up Stray last time as well.
Brotato.
Yeah.
Brotato is on sale. I might get that just because it is also $3.99. So looks like it looks like a Vampire Survivors clone. You play a potato wielding up to 6 weapons at a time to fight off hordes of aliens. So it's basically a Vampire Survivors clone, but you play an action potato. Stardew Valley is not on sale, but No Man's Sky is 50% off. Octopath
Brotato.
Traveler is not on sale, but God of War is 40% off. PC gaming is
And
just such
Hades
a
is purchased.
monster value.
I,
Good man.
I just picked it up because I didn't want to wait. Every time I think about it, like I mean, realistically, yeah, it's always something else comes up in front of it, and I'm not gonna allow it this time. It's good, and it'll run on the Steam Deck, which is also very nice. So it'll be good. I can play that one at least.
So
Um,
Farhan has an interesting comment here. He says, speaking
Yeah.
of Steam games, I haven't gotten any emails about discounts for all the games in my wish list. I always have it delivered through email. I would go and check because I wanted to replay a game that I loved playing on, I think it was PS3. Was it
Okay.
PS3 or it might have been PS4? I'm pretty sure I had it on the PS3. So, Prototype was kind of a silly riff on games like Infamous. I don't know if you
Hmm.
guys remember playing Infamous, but it's sort of an open
Oh,
world superpower adventure kind of game. And I loved those games because both Infamous and both Prototype, as your character starts
I
leveling
played
up,
Prototype before, but not Infamous. But yeah, I remember
loved.
Prototype. Yeah.
I loved both of them, but I really liked Prototype. And of the two, I felt Prototype had the weaker story, but the way that your character leveled felt way more powerful. So like by the time you get to the end of the game in Prototype and you're doing these combos and you're flipping these characters and you're throwing these vehicles and you're traversing the city, you really did feel like you were this super powerful mutant monster guy.
Yep.
And I don't feel like Infamous's electricity powers delivered the same feel. But sorry, shorts are incredibly long, Farhan. I've had Prototype and Prototype 2 in my wish list just because I don't want to pay full price for them. They're older games. I think they were released like over 10 years ago.
Oh yeah, a long time
And
ago.
both of them are on crazy sales. So the
Crazy, crazy.
entire Prototype franchise pack, which is Prototype 1, Prototype 2, and a little mini DLC for Prototype 2, all together are now $15, where they would normally be 60. I didn't get any emails about these games going on sale. So they were in my wish list. I've been waiting for these games to go on sale for a while. First day of the spring sale, they went on sale. I was not given any notification through Steam. So check your wish list and see if any of the games have gone on sale because I don't think you're just automatically going to get notified when they do.
Yeah, $15. You can't really go wrong with the franchise pack. With the yeah, I already have Prototype in there. It's actually not bad. Okay, no, okay, dang it. Okay, so I'm getting Prototype 2. Okay, dang. I never played Prototype 2. I've always played Prototype 1. And okay, I don't need the whole franchise pack and Prototype. I just need the franchise pack, which gives me everything. Okay, I'm not gonna check out now
So
because otherwise, if I do, I'm gonna be checking out
another
separately.
one.
Oh
Did
crap.
you
Okay.
have you done Dead Cells and all the DLCs?
Uh, Dead Cells, yes, but not all the DLCs yet. No, I mean
So
only you have completed everything.
you
Sorry.
should check out. No, I haven't. Oh, I haven't beaten Dead Cells. I've
Oh, that's right. That's
gone.
right. Undead Horde.
I've
Sorry.
gone three. I've done four evolutions on Dead Cells. So I haven't made it to the end because there's like an ending and then there's another ending and then there's the real ending. I haven't made it that far.
Okay.
But Dead Cells is currently 50% off, and like the whole bundle of that is a pretty good buy. It's still overall cheaper to pick up Dead Cells in the DLC on Android, but
Hmm.
if you're gonna play on a PC or if you're gonna play on a controller, or like not
Or Steam.
that's not what I mean. On a Steam Deck, something like a
Yeah,
Steam Deck,
I
then
got
this would probably be the best way to grab it.
I figured that that's what you meant. Yeah. No, no, for sure. Um, okay. So for me, I'm getting Prototype. I'm debating if I want to get Spider-Man Remastered, um, or maybe even Spider-Man Miles Morales because that's also on sale. That's actually a little bit less. Um, but yeah. Oh man, $40. And then Dying Light, and then Shadow Wars, or Shadow of War. Sorry.
Now I'm debating because Undead Horde 2 is also on sale.
Wait. Oh, okay. I see. I thought that wasn't. Wait, hold on. When did Undead Horde 2 come out? I thought it was supposed to come
The
out
very end of last year.
Oh, okay. The main trailer on that. Okay, I gotta check that out. Okay, I haven't played. I mean, other than regular Undead Horde, and I keep playing that one. And is there a way to transfer your progress, or do you always have to restart every time you put on? Oh, for the love of God.
So if you
Okay.
notice in my videos when I'm showing like gameplay performance on games like Undead Horde or
Yeah.
Tesla versus Lovecraft, I have not found any way. Sometimes, depending on the phone, if you're doing Google One backups on your phone and then you transfer to your new phone, it will sometimes transfer over your game progress, but it hasn't been consistent. And I don't like doing a transfer because I don't want my new phone to have all of the gunk from my old phones.
The old, yeah, the large library files and stuff like
So I
that.
just
Yeah, no,
I
no.
just have to start all over, and it's a major pain.
I know, I know. And every time I install it, I was like, I go through the cutscene with the kid with the chicken and all that. No, I know. It's. I like the mechanic. I like the game. I have the Android port of Dead Cells. I've been waiting for the Castlevania DLC. Oh man, Castlevania, nice. We only regret getting every volume 2. Yeah, for sure.
Now,
No, no,
TK, who wrote that comment for
I know.
anyone listening to our podcast?
Steve Pogs. Sorry,
Steve
Steve
Pogue
Pogue.
wrote
Sorry, wrote.
what
I should
TK
always
just
start that
said.
way. Yeah, I start reading comments as if people can see. Okay, so stepping back, Steve Pogue basically said, "I have the Android port of Dead Cells, and I am waiting for the Castlevania DLC to drop. We only recently got everyone. Sorry, everyone is here, Volume 2. So okay,
Hmm. So the Android phone, the Android port of Dead Cells is usually one DLC behind the PC. Um, I will fight anyone on the Android experience not being one of the best ways to play Dead Cells.
oh,
One, you can clip on a controller.
mhm.
Uh, you're gonna a lot of premium tier phones can play Dead Cells at a faster frame rate than a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck can play Dead Cells.
Surprisingly, yes. Actually, you're right. I feel like the gaming experience, even from comparing it to the
Man,
Steam Deck, I
whew.
still enjoy it more on a smartphone than a Steam Deck. Like I feel like
Dead
it's
Cells at 90 hertz is really nice, and I
yeah.
can't do that on a Steam Deck.
No, no, that you start hitting
Man,
certain limitation of hardware and you're like, okay. Well, and it also because you've tried it before, right? Like when you've played Dead Cell at 120 frames per second on a Red Magic,
hmm
and you're like, I'm cooking something on this phone, but oh my God, is this game good?
but
And
it's
the
so
and then Red
smooth.
Magic doesn't throttle. It's just like, hey man, you want to cook, have fun,
Right?
have at it.
You want to melt the screen off this phone? Go for it.
Enjoy. Speaking of which, I think that'll be one of those videos I do because I still need to do the video for the GameSir. They sent me
Yeah.
the X3 Type C, and I, of course, I went to see not CS. I went to MWC and I also a bunch of trips. So yeah, it'll be one of those nice little passive cooling solution that we
Hmm.
have on for gaming.
It's
And
great.
yeah,
Again, it's we were really only held back by developer interest because I'm
and the
playing with the
company.
Razer Edge. I'm playing
Mm,
with a couple of older chipsets or less powerful phones. I'm playing with this Poco that has a 778. That
yeah.
thing's a monster. And if you can do something like that game, sir, just clipping on a little bit of active cooling to the back of any device immediately improves your
I
sustained
mean, and
performance.
it's in line a little bit in line in what was OnePlus was trying to do with their active cooler that they had demoed at
Hmm.
MWC. It's basically a water cooling though, not just active fan passive cooling. It's actually
So
uh,
here's my thing.
yeah,
That was a fun concept to show off.
it
I think
is a
that is
fun
one of
kind.
the least practical ways when you compare. Like, have you really tried? Is this the X3 with the Peltier cooler?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, it's the exact same
Yeah.
one. You're the reason why when we were working together for the Xbox controller video, they were like, "Hey, we have this other nice little controller kind of going on," and I'm like, "Hey, my buddy did this video. I would love to be able to check it out. I really think it's nice." And yeah, so essentially, that's the exact one that you
Yeah.
have, or you have,
So
yeah,
so have you fired it up yet?
yeah. I've used it a couple of times. I haven't had a chance to in the last
Like to
since
shoot
I've been
it
back.
and do all your
Yeah,
review and stuff
all
on it. Right.
the good B-roll footage. It gets very
I
cold.
I am such a nerd. This is such an old technology.
Oh yeah,
Peltier thermoelectric cooling has been around for decades,
yeah,
and this is really my first practical experience with it. And there are a bunch of lifestyle products that people are trying to make, like body cooling pads and things like that. And here's this like game controller, and I pop a phone into it, and I plug in the fan, and I immediately feel a temperature difference. And then like after a minute, it's like 25 degrees colder than the ambient temperature of my room, and that blows my mind. So, for whatever advantage water cooling might have, like what OnePlus is doing looks really cool. The entire rig that you need to create to water cool something, to me, doesn't seem like it would be nearly as practical as having like a really good, yeah, exactly, a really good Peltier cooler on a controller like that makes so much more
On a
sense to me.
foldable. This is the Magic VS from Honor, and I was like, because I was playing. You get different perspective when you're playing like top-down games, but like trying to play it with the whole thing where because all
Hmm.
of the hardware is sitting at the top and it opens. I just wish they'd opened the other way up, like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I kind of want it to be a little
Oh,
bit more
that would
like
be,
this.
yeah, that would definitely be preferable.
But yeah, it's still not bad. It's not bad. I like it. Oops, and I just popped
Oh,
it up, and that's how we do it. I didn't drop anything. I'm good. Now we know. Take the
doing
case
it
out. That's
live.
doing it live. Pop and lock. Pop, pop. Sorry.
But also for Steve's point on Dead Cells, I'll also say anyone who does not like playing Dead Cells on a touchscreen, get good, because that's the hardest way to play Dead Cells is on a touchscreen.
Yep.
So, if you like playing all of your games on easy mode, then maybe avoid Dead Cells on Android. You just need someone to really hold your hand and pat you on the head and like, oh, I wish Elden Ring had an easy mode. Man, I can't play hard games. That's everyone who complains about playing Dead Cells on a touchscreen is they're basically just big crybabies and they're just not very good gamers. And if they were better gamers, then they would appreciate how good Dead Cells is, even when you don't have a good controller to play it on. I can keep going with
No,
this
no,
and
no, no.
just
I,
trying
I,
to
I
besmirch the worst of the gamers out there who complain about
Dead
touchscreen
cells.
gaming because they're
Yeah, no,
so
no.
bad. They're just so bad at gaming. That's why they don't enjoy being able to play Dead
I gotta
Cells
take
that
this thing
way.
out. Otherwise, I think it's gonna pop up again. I may actually, I do actually now want to try it out with a foldable because on the Z Fold, it's not as it's much thicker. Like for some reason, like
Yeah,
this one actually is a little bit thinner the way that the VS
for
is set
sure.
up. So it is definitely very nice. So that's going to be one of my things I need to finish shooting video and getting the content out. But what any other sales, any other little gems that you feel like some people should be checking out, or because
I mean, honestly,
my pocket
this
is
is this is just the joy of, excuse me, this is just the joy of PC gaming
mhm.
is like, for example, I'm probably not going to jump on a game like this. It's just not my kind of vibe, and I sort of burned myself out on Borderlands, but Tiny Tina's Wonderland is 50% off. Now, when we look at console gaming, when we look at Nintendo Switches and Xboxes and PlayStations,
Mhm.
it is so rare that you land more than like, oh, it's like 10% off. What a great sale. Now I can play this 8-year-old Nintendo game because I'm going to save $5 whole. And in PC gaming, you're like, hey, this was a baller game from like 2 years ago and it's half price.
Half price. Yeah, no, 50%.
And
Like I said,
that's great.
I've seen a lot of like I always kick myself for not picking up certain games when I've seen them on sale. But yeah,
Hmm.
if it's your jam, if it's a type of game that you like to play, definitely check it out. Prey was surprisingly a very nice game. I enjoyed playing that on the plane. It was actually
Hmm.
kind of a quiet little mellow. You just
Sure.
walking around, and it runs really nice on the Steam Deck. Surprisingly, a few stutters here and there, but nothing big. Um, and then of course God of War, the last
All
game that
right.
I got prior to today.
So
But
so we were just touting God of War's $30 right now, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Of a similar of a similar distance
Mhm.
where if you haven't been into PlayStation gaming, Horizon Zero Dawn, the complete edition, is $17 right now.
The
It is
first the Horizons.
the first Horizon Zero Dawn, which
Oh
was a
man,
PlayStation game,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
is on
They root.
PC. They also
You're
brought it to
right.
PC.
They
It
did.
is now 67% off.
That's a must. I feel like that's one of those must. You have to get
I
that one.
feel if you
Yeah.
haven't played Horizon, yeah, I know
Uh,
like Elden Ring kind of sucked all the air out of the room for like the big high concept titles and worlds and dystopias and stuff. I really feel Horizon deserves a lot more credit. And I've become a big fan of games like Horizon. I also really loved Hellblade,
Hmm.
Senua's Sacrifice, games like that.
Yeah,
I feel like they never seem to get the same kind of mind share as like a God of War, but the experience of Horizon Zero Dawn deserves to be in the conversation. I don't think it
absolutely.
ever deserved to win like a Game of the Year award, but it deserved to be in that in that tier of conversation. And now you can get it for $17.
Oh
In
my
fact, now
God.
that
Like,
makes me want to look up if Hellblade is on any kind of crazy sale too. I'm
it
gonna
wouldn't
type
be
that one
surprised.
in.
No, no. So for me, the reason why I said that is because I actually have Horizon West. So Forbidden West, I picked up the new
Ah,
game for PlayStation, and I was like,
all right.
and as soon as I
So
picked that up,
so
okay.
so if you like sort of Souls, not it's not even Soul style combat. I mean, it's a little like Soul style combat, and it's got some elements that are a little God of War y.
Hmm.
This is not a new game. It came out in 2017. I love Hellblade. You can button mash your way through the whole game, or you can really like kind of get into the combat mechanics. Play it on a great pair of headphones because it deals with mental illness and hearing audio hallucinations.
Hmm.
And voices start talking to you, and some of the voices are trying to lead you the right way, and some of the voices are trying to lead you astray.
Hmm.
Right now, on the spring sale, it is $7.49. This game is gorgeous. It is like one of those high quality graphics, 3D world environments, lots of interesting kind of like puzzle mechanics and stuff in a God of War ish kind of way. Um, $7, well, $7.50, and that includes a plug-in for VR play. So if you got a VR headset, you can also. It's still a third-person action game, but it's like a more immersive world of this graphics all around your head as you lead Senua through this combat and stuff.
Good
If
to
you
know.
haven't played it, this is such an easy $7.50 to recommend.
Oh, for the love of God. Okay, hold on a second.
Have you not played Hellblade? Have you really not?
I have not.
Oh,
Well,
dude,
actually,
you would love it if you like games like God of War. Again, this you're
hold
not
on.
gonna walk away from Hellblade having had because God of War is one of the best games of its generation and is one of the best games ever made.
I wonder.
Hellblade is not going to hit that tier, but for $7.50, you get like 80% of the way to what makes a God of War so much fun.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, for $7, you can't really mess with it. Yeah, no, man, $7.50. Hellblade the sacrifice. Sonoa's Sacrifice. Okay. So so I'm gonna pick up the
It's
first
good.
Horizon and of course the prototype trilogy or basically the franchise pack, and then of course Hellblade. Put that in there. So it's not that bad, and all of this is still under $40.
Yeah.
Like
I
so
spent
many.
70 and like
Oh
my
yeah,
most expensive game was the prototype twofer.
that was a good. That is definitely, and I mean Horizon's a little bit more, but I think it's worth it for the
Oh
amount of
yeah.
just the amount of sheer bliss of enjoying the gameplay. For me, Horizon is what got me into it. The storytelling, the voiceovers, the graphics, overall everything just always, it was so on point, and everybody spoke so
Mhm.
highly of the first one. I had to jump in. I kind of jumped in on the second one without playing the first one, so I'm very
For sure.
appreciative of for the design. Yeah, for sure.
And
So
this is also I think the best time to start grabbing some of those other games like okay, here I've got it on the screen. If you've ever sort of
oh, there's
rage
even Dragon
quit a
Ball
co-op
Kakarot is in
game.
there as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for $15.
Hmm.
But if you like, I've tried playing this game with Lex and Marie. If you've
Hmm.
ever played Overcooked,
No, no. Can you
it
click that?
is
Let's see the
okay.
graphic.
Overcooked is a co-op kitchen simulator. And so you've got like little stations where you've got to pull vegetables and pull like all of your ingredients. Then
Okay.
you've got to take those over to prep areas where you chop and you prepare. Then
Yeah.
you take the prepared ingredients over to a cooking station. Then you take all of those ingredients and you deliver them to the front of house so they can serve them
We
to
can
the
serve them.
customers. Then you get the dishes back and you have to clean the dishes before you can plate your next meal.
Exactly.
So orders come in and you've got to run around this kitchen and get all that stuff set up. There's literally only one person I've ever played this with where I fell into the rapport where we could really get missions done. And
Okay.
every mission, every kitchen has different obstacles that you need to run around and different recipes that you need to cook. Trisha Hirschberger is really good at this game, and she's really good at this game because she's one of the best communicators that I've ever met in my entire life. So
That's good.
I was at her place and we were doing her Twitch stream, and we failed one mission the very first time that we just kind of fired it up, and then we both just started yelling at each other. I'm over here. Are you going to get that? Just throw me the tomato. Okay, I've got it. Are you on the stove? Oh, that's burning. Get that off the stove. Okay, deliver it over. I'm going to get the dishes. Okay, I'm going to do this. And it's like she is so good at hyper articulating everything that she's doing
Hmm.
and then also listening for everything that you're doing. So I've tried this game with Marie and Lex, and it did not go very well. Where Marie and Lex are like, Lex just keeps running into Marie, which is like knocking her out of the way of the place that she needs to go.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Lex is just cackling because it's the funny. He's like, I knocked mommy over. This is so funny. And you're like, but the soup is burning and now we can't serve it. And we're not going to get a tip. So
I
this is an incredible game that is almost purpose built to make you rage throw controllers. It is, it is
or just lose friendships over it. Sounds like
Yeah.
a
So,
yeah,
so
yeah.
John Gow is saying overcooked equals the number one source of family couple conflicts. For older people, it's Monopoly. For younger people, it's
It's
overcooked.
overcooked. Okay.
Um, so you look at it and you think, what a gimmicky, cartoony, silly little kids game. And then you play it and the tension cannot get higher. Like you're on the clock, you hear like a beeping sound when you're starting to run out of time for your level, like the pressure is on to get all of these recipes out.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, this is one of those where the Overcooked 2, just the regular version, not the full DLC uh, uh, super gourmet edition is what they call it.
Hmm.
You can grab Overcooked 2 for $6.24. Like this is the thing I love about the Steam sales is like something like this is just a killer game to have in your library where hey, I want to try something different. Marie and I just we don't have anything to watch or we've finished all of our shows. We don't want to play another round of Tetris against each other, and you fire up something like this,
Yeah.
and you get worked up about it. But it was a really fun for $6. That is such an easy buy for an
Overcooked.
evening's entertainment. Let alone whether or not you play it long enough to get good at it. That's less than a movie rental, even if you only played it for one night. You got your $6
You got your $6 worth
worth
and
of
no, no,
anxiety.
overcooked. Oh my God. Yeah. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, no, for sure. I unfortunately our Omar is not at that age where he can enjoy that play game like that. It'll end up being myself and my wife. So we got to figure out if this is something that would be interesting for us to kind of
You
or
know,
even just for him.
it was funny throwing Lex into the mix because she was actually better on the controls than Marie was. So like navigating her little character and running
Yeah, yeah.
around and picking up ingredients and moving things around, but she was like an agent of disruptive chaos. So
Because
she wasn't
she
playing the
found her own
game.
fun. Yeah, messing around with mom and dad
Exactly.
was the
She
actual
wasn't
game
playing the
she was
game to help
playing.
us
You guys were
win.
playing Overcooked. And so yeah, so there y'all should have had like a little bit of a kumbaya before. I was like, okay, this is what we're trying to all do together. We're trying to get it and get the tips and get this stuff moving along. But Lex, no, I'm sure it's fun also sometimes just to mess.
All right.
Um,
So I might have found your most expensive game. If you're gonna play something with the misses,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
have you played It Takes
It
Two?
takes no. Oh my God, you're bringing
Okay.
up a lot of. Okay, let me see
So
here.
I
Okay,
bought this game full price. It was a $40 game. It's half price now for 19.99, $20.
hmm
This is a puzzle platformer where every puzzle depends on two people playing at the same time. You cannot solo play this game. So you have to sit on the couch with
Oh,
your wife, and it's
yeah, yeah,
about
yeah,
a couple, they're about to get divorced,
yeah, yeah. I see
and
that.
their daughter is super sad and magically transforms them into dolls, and they have to work together as little doll characters to get out of their shed, get back into their house, and find their daughter to revert them back into being human beings again.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
it goes through like 30 years of video game genres. So there are basic platformers, there are grapple hook mechanics, there
Hmm.
are combat sequences. There's
There's even a
one of the
fighting
parts of
and
the
shooting
house
sequence as well. Yeah, you can
fighting and
actually.
shooting,
Hmm.
but there's also one that's almost like Diablo, like a top-down isometric dungeon crawler style
Hmm.
gameplay. And so the game is almost perfectly built so that no one player is going to be equally good at every single genre of gameplay. And the game sort of anticipates that one player will probably be a stronger video gamer than the other.
Okay.
And so Marie and I spent quite a bit of time grinding through It Takes Two also. Like it's quirky, it's cute, it's charming. Some of the voice acting is a little but like the actual co-op mechanics are some of
Hmm.
the best I've ever seen in a game. This would also be another really good like it's $20. That's pretty good.
No, no. I'm looking at all the different stages and everything like that. It's actually not bad. It's actually a pretty decent game. Actually, it's not about. The only thing I probably would say is you'd have to have it installed on two separate systems, right? So you're playing it on the
No.
Steam Deck. You can play it on the
Oh no,
same.
no, no. It's split screens. It's
Oh,
like old school classic split screen. So we
so
play it on the
you could.
TV,
Okay. Okay.
and yeah,
Okay. Good to
I
know.
mean you could play it on the. I think it would play okay on the Steam Deck. I was playing it on our little Nook,
Yeah.
so that I mean it's definitely a little beefier, but it's an older Core i9 with 1660 Super, and the game
Oh
looks
yeah, and
great.
congrats for bringing it
1080
back.
1080p.
I saw
Yeah, I
your post
finally
about
got
that.
it.
Yeah, yeah,
It is mostly I'll put it back together. I still need to mess around with some of the internal cabling for the antennas,
yeah.
but it's working and it's working way better than it has in a while. And
What
like the fans aren't
airflow?
like,
I was
yeah,
like,
it actually has good airflow.
it's a massive improvement with airflow, but also kind of like a magic of like, hey, better airflow, better gaming. No throttling. So yeah, I
So
get it. Thermal
we
take for sure.
have Oliver recommending Voidigo, and he says it's a top-down twin stick. He says it's a twin stick shooter with same screen co-op, which that absolutely looks like it's right up my alley. So this is not on sale for the spring sale, but it is only $15.
Yeah.
So I might need to check this out because that looks. And actually, what's funny is like I just got Hades, and some of this like hyperkinetic voxel art style
Yeah,
is
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
what
And
Hades is all
yeah, I
about.
literally just finally bought Hades, and I have three more. Um, but yeah, no, Michael, no, we didn't name him after the character on the wire. He's named after Omar Sharif, a very
Oh, yeah,
classic
yeah.
actor from a long time ago. I'll say that. I grew
That's
up watching
great.
Omar Sharif, so yeah, for me, Omar holds a very, and it's
Yeah,
also a
so
nice name. It blends.
I might need to add Voidigo and Brotato here
Brotato.
because I'm
Brotato
maxed
sounds.
out again on Vampire Survivors.
Yeah, no, I know.
I've completed every single accomplishment, and I've got like 3 million in gold coins that I'm just sitting on for player upgrades.
Maybe what I should do
So
is just drop off my Steam Deck over at your place and maybe let you ramp up a little bit or
yeah,
something.
I would take you up on that, but I've been so thirsty for a fresh dopamine hit on Vampire Survivors that I'm actually playing it on my Razer Edge to try and catch my Razer
Catch
Edge
up your
up to
edge
my
on that
Steam
one.
Deck.
Oh my god, that is
Yeah,
good. No, no,
it's not great.
don't no no. It's weird like how now that I've kind of gotten better and I feel better, I've been craving Call of Duty and I've been craving more FPS gaming, and unfortunately none of
Yeah,
that. I mean, God of War works great, but it's not an FPS, and Call of Duty
right.
does not play. I mean, there's ways of getting it to run, but it just runs so weird. Like I don't want to try to force it into on a Steam Deck, and then
Mm-hmm.
trying to force it onto a Mac doesn't really work that well. And
Mm-hmm.
it hasn't, none of it has been the way I want to play it. Like I got so used to playing with the monitors in the back that like I missed that, and I'm trying to figure out what I can do to get myself back on a system. Um, I am more than likely gonna, not more like, I am gonna go end up with a pre-built. I'm not gonna try to jerry rig and try to figure or patch it. I think another friend of mine was talking to me, and it's like, remember that, if you try to fix a 4-year-old system, you may have a couple of new pieces in it, but it's still technically that 4-year-old system. So it's an inevitable
Yeah.
chain of things could go. Um, so after I realized that it wasn't the motherboard, that kind of made me a little bit sad knowing that the CPU kind of, I know it's pretty much the CPU, not the RAM, because the RAM I tested on my son's computer. So
Hmm.
for the most part, it's a big chunk. It's a big chunk. The 5950 is
Yeah.
not a cheap CPU, and I'm almost tempted to say, and if I change to the new generation of those, the Zen, the AM5, the Zen, was it the Zen 9 7000?
Hmm.
Um, it changes a whole bunch of different things. It changes the motherboard, changes the RAM, changes like it changes
Yeah.
so much that I feel like it's easier just to
At that
get a
point,
pre-built.
yeah, you just pull the trigger on, and
Yeah,
then again, I mean, we were talking about some of these like pros and cons, and I would miss having sort of that articulated individual control over every little component that I picked and chose, and that would
that was the
definitely be a bummer. But then I
yeah.
would have one company to go, oh, it doesn't work,
It
fix
it,
it.
it 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 was my only thing that I feel like, because I did it a long time ago with the system that Omar's working with, which was the iBuy Power system that I bought. It was an
Hmm.
Intel, but I got it at the end when it was just out of warranty and everything. I got it the entire case. I put it in my Ryzen chip, the 1800X, and I rebuilt
Hmm.
it, and it works great. But the finding what works, finding the compatibility, finding the right motherboard to work with the CPU, and making sure that it works,
Yeah.
all of that just drives me crazy. But there are quite a few options, so I'm in the process trying to find out what I can, like. I tried going the NZXT route, but they're out of a whole bunch of things that I like. They don't have the right RAM for the new Ryzen 7, the new Ryzen 9. The
Yeah.
motherboards that I was looking for didn't have enough USB ports, so there was a whole bunch of different things. So I'm trying to figure out,
Well,
to
and
feel
and
around.
for some of those components too, where I've been more an Nvidia guy than an AMD guy.
Yeah.
I might. So we were chatting in the Discord again, and who was it? It wasn't Slow Mo. Um, One of the people there, Jeremy, was
Mhm.
kind of just picking like, "Hey, well, what are you thinking?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm still on a 2080 Ti. That's still a really good card,
It is absolutely.
but one of the issues that I'm running into is 4K 60 is sort of its limit for DaVinci Resolve. And
Hmm.
if you try to edit in a 4K 120 timeline or in an 8K timeline, you can't really use the GPU. You've got to go back to native CPU encoding. And it's a problem because you just don't have enough RAM on the GPU. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I really don't want to buy a 4090. It's kind of overkill for what I do, but
Hmm.
that would get me the RAM. And then I was looking up the 7900 XTX has a 24 gig variant. And like it is not as powerful as a 4090, but I don't really care about that. What I care about is running out of RAM and
Hmm.
my renders crash, and that would double the amount of RAM I have on my graphics card over my 2080. Even if it were a lateral move, which we know this is going to be significantly more powerful than my 2080 Ti. But literally,
Absolutely.
even if it was just a 1-to-1 and I could just double my RAM, I could finish 8K timeline projects again. So I'm seriously looking at going pre-built,
Hmm.
and I think my next system is going to be an all AMD build.
All AMD build. Yeah, yeah. I think for me, I don't necessarily have any big. I mean, I don't use Premiere anymore, so it's not like it was a big thing
Yeah.
for me with NVIDIA. And I think DaVinci, for the most part, on at least on the M1, works crazy well. Like I don't really have to worry about performance and rendering. For me, the PC is. I mean, it is going to be basically more like I want to be able to do some more regular work on it, and
Yeah.
not necessarily just game all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
but it's I've been missing the game. It's a weird therapeutic thing, right? Like I know I'm sitting around and I just want to be able to get in and out, get in a couple of matches, get out, and just get my fix. And I haven't been able to get my fix, which has really been driving me crazy, because I can't play Call of Duty on PlayStation. I'm not a controller gamer. I need a
Nah.
PC. I need a keyboard and mouse.
Mouse and keyboard, yeah.
Yeah. And I need it to be higher than 60 frames per second because the TV that I have here is capped at 60. So the overall, an NVIDIA would probably work better for me as far as just going,
Hmm.
but I don't think the 4090 is needed. I think maybe a 4080. The 3080 Ti that I have actually is more than capable. If I'm able to find a system that has, but then they never pair them in that way. They never pair a powerful CPU, good motherboard, good RAM, and then with a crappy GPU. Like you'd have to custom build that system just to kind of,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like to shoe in your
Yeah.
own video card, and but you're still paying for another card that you end up not using anyway. So it's um you kind of have to make a line in the sand. And I think once I'm able to get it up and running, I can probably sell off the 3080 Ti and then just put that money, whatever money I get out of that one, into whatever I
Yeah.
end up getting with the pre-build. So we'll see. We'll see. And I'm just trying to. Not a lot of companies are using the 7950X 3D yet. I wanted to go originally with the 7950X, not the 3D model, but then I
Hmm.
saw the comparisons with with the thermals and the power draw. It's so much more optimized on the X3D that I
Yeah.
prefer staying there with a maximum. You know what? Like the target
Yeah.
temperature
It's
was like
like,
80.
isn't it like a? No, I was gonna say, isn't it like a 20-watt power difference,
Oh,
like
it's a
max
big, yeah.
TDP or
It was
something
a
like that?
I was surprised they were able to drop so much. And in a weird way, like if you want to save money, you want to go with the 7950X because it's like 550. It's like $150 off now. You can most places. But then as right before I started finishing putting the system up, I saw our friend Terrence, the poet, and he was talking about the 7950X 3D, and I'm like, okay, let me check it out. And then I'm like, oh yeah, no,
Oh
I should wait. I should
yeah.
wait. This is one of those where I did, yeah, I should just wait till I find it. So I need to find
And
more
if I
system
can keep
builders.
my current workstation sort of just healthy enough,
Hmm.
I might try to I might try to just leap when 50 series cards come out and when the next generation of Ryzens come out, and just try and, like, anything that you've got stock on shelves for a 7950 and a 7900 XTX,
Yep.
then I'll try and just squeak by there, and I'll technically be a generation behind, but it'll still be a significant upgrade over
Oh,
what I'm currently
absolutely. And
using.
for
So,
me, even from the 5950X, I think as an upgrade over to the new architecture, it's the thing that kills me is, or the thing that I really liked about AMD and the way they've done it is, you get to upgrade your processor. We had the ability of upgrading a few generations. Like I went from the 1800X
hmm,
to the 3900X to the 5950X, and they all fit on the same board. You had to update, make sure that the board had the right BIOS configuration, but you didn't necessarily have to upgrade to the 570 or the 470. You could have
right.
stayed with the board. But we can't. That's where the kind of the line in the sand has been drawn. Essentially, is you can't jump from an AM4 to an AM5. It's a different. They no longer have the pins. It's basically just it sits where it needs. The architecture is different. So but I'm also excited to see, kind of using DDR5 because that kind of forces us to upgrade to the newer memory. So that could
Hmm.
also help with gaming, rendering. I don't know if DaVinci will love it even more, but we'll have to see. Yeah, it's a little bit of a waiting game because the chip is so new that I think everybody that had it sold it, and
Yeah.
only system builders will have it because they have, I guess, deals and so on. So yeah, and that's not that bad. I need to find a company that I don't think is so new in the name. Like I found this like really nice system on Amazon, but it was like yeah, yeah, ye oh man, I can't even remember the name of it. It's not Yeezys. It's not one of
Right.
those. It's like
You know,
the Yeezy.
of all the labels I wouldn't want on the side of my
Not,
PC case, probably not Yeezy.
no, no, Yi Yang, Yeyan, Yi Yang, the Odashi system that they have, and that actually looks like it's pretty well spec'd. And then if I try to build the system, I tried to price the system as well, like my own.
Hmm.
They're actually not making that much. I mean, they're making like maybe $300 or so over the cost of the parts, which is not bad. It's not bad. It's pretty
Nice.
decent. Yeah. Sorry, kept it. We made it into a PC kind of experience overall, but I think
Yeah,
it's just what it's
that's
on my
okay. We
mind.
got to do that from time to time. We needed some
Yeah.
of that fun.
It would have been nice, actually. You know what? Next time, maybe we can set up the game. Maybe we'll set up a game or something like that. We'll set something up and we
We
can play.
should.
Like, yeah, we talked about it last week. We didn't get a chance
If
to prep.
if we want, we could probably throw down on like some Overcooked and just yell at each other, and everyone will make fun of how bad we
Everybody
are
will log off.
on
It was like, oh
Overcooked.
my god, the show was so good at one point, but now all the like old, these two old people yelling at each other, and TK's not
or
listening, and he keeps going
or
right when Juan says go left.
we could do like a brawler, or we could do like River City Girls or Streets of Rage, or just something kind of cartoony and fun and over the top.
Yeah, no.
Have you rolled credits on Shredder's Revenge?
No, I haven't
We
yet.
could do some Shredder's Revenge.
We
And,
could
you know,
definitely.
like if my daughter could roll credits on Shredder's Revenge, then I feel you are missing out on some
I'm not giving it. I'm not giving it
classic
enough time.
gaming.
No, I think the one thing I do miss is having going back to the office during the day. Is I cannot
Yeah.
play games. I can't play games. I can't be on Twitch. I can't listen or even watch people on Twitch. I get the notifications on my phone because it's in there. But I'm in my
Yeah.
office is in a weird cell service area where I can barely get barely any decent LTE. But it's not fast enough to stream anything. And if I jump on the work
Hmm.
Wi-Fi, I can't turn anything on because Twitch is blocked. So we're like, okay, I can't even yeah. So it's tough. It's tough. I've missed.
It's
That's
less
the one
good.
part I miss about being able to be at home is, when you're down and there's nothing thing. If you're waiting for something like that, fire up a game. You know, I'm not gonna deny the fact that I've played a few Call of Duty
Heck
matches
yeah.
in the middle of a yes sir, yes no, definitely. Um, when it's just a listening conference call, it's hard. It's hard not to be able to
Right.
keep yourself entertained. So we'll have to see. And I really want a system back. I want to get my office back up and running and humming. And
Hmm.
I love the Mac, but it's not a gaming system. You can't play game. I mean, you can, but not the same. Like I
No,
installed
you really
Steam on
can't.
it. Yeah, and I think Apex. I installed GeForce Now to try to see if I can run some of it, but GeForce doesn't support Call of Duty, even though there's been agreements between Microsoft and Nvidia, but that hasn't
Right.
materialized. So yeah, so maybe I can play some Apex. Maybe that'll get me through. Apex Legend. I'll get that running in a little bit,
You just kind of scratch that itch. You're
just to get a little bit
Jones
of
in there.
fast pace and yeah, exactly. But it's still not going to be at a very high refresh rate. So it's one of the limitations of a Mac. I mean, it's great for things, but it's not so good for other things.
Poor
But
Mac. They can't do stuff.
on a side thing, what's kind of coming up for you? Are you doing anything for the rest of the
Oh,
week
who
as far as for
knows?
video? It's like, okay, good.
So I do. I've got a lot of stuff here in the pipeline. I've got a couple mics that I can't talk about just yet. I've got a wireless display, a
Talk
portable
about or talk
display that
on?
I think
Just kidding. Yeah, sorry.
either. Uh, I'm still using my Rode right now, but I seriously considered maybe using something else. Um, I've got some accessories that I want to get through. I'm trying to put together a script on like what do you really get in terms of a phone upgrade, and I think there's something really interesting to talk about with. I've got the Poco over here. It's like a
Yeah,
300 euro phone, and then
yeah.
I've got the Xiaomi 13 over here, which is an almost thousand
I was
euro
yeah. I was gonna
phone.
say yeah.
So at three times the price, it's difficult to quantify what are the upgrades, and I think that's one of the crucial parts of Android phone conversations that we have not been doing a very good job of highlighting, because man, that Poco with the 778 and that 1 over 1.5-inch camera sensor, 120 hertz display, it's got fast charging and a big battery and a lower powered chipset. Like, this is a great piece of hardware.
Hmm.
So if we're not doing a good job of sort of quantifying why you should spend more, then I think you're just setting people up to be disappointed when they spend $1,000 on a phone and they're using it like they would have used a $300 phone.
Yeah.
Like, of course, people aren't going to be impressed with a Note 23 or a Vivo X90 Pro or a Xiaomi 13 Pro or any of these really, really top tier, premium tier experiences,
Hmm.
because they're getting it, they're taking it out of the box, and then they go, oh, but I installed Twitter, and now it's just the same as when I was using my old phone and using Twitter. And you're like, that's not what we should have sold you on. We should have sold you on a Pixel,
Yeah.
like a Pixel 5a. for something like that.
Or a
So
7A that
I'm
apparently goes for $2,600. But yes, no, I know what you mean.
for sure on eBay, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to wrap my brain around some stuff like that. I've got a few more follow-up videos. I want to do a whole gaming accessories breakdown for my Steam Deck and the Razer Edge, like ways that you can really max out your portable gaming experience.
Yeah.
And again, what I love are you should be able to buy accessories that play nice with your other gadgets, and then also really take your gaming up a tier too. So like displays and audio gear and controllers and power management and all of that stuff. So I've got some stuff like that. I've got some scripts in progress, and I'm hoping that some of those
Mhm.
videos will start trickling out over the next 2 weeks.
Okay. Good. Good. Yeah. No. For me, I have well, so it's literally more so than anything else, like just catching up. So I got to put out the video for the S23 Ultra, the review. Hopefully that comes out this weekend. Next week, I need to, like I said, the Razer Edge is still on my list. It's just this week was kind of like last week being sick kind of threw me off. Threw me off course. The scooter, the Scooter 4 Ultra, I had the opportunity to play with it before I was getting sick, and then I also kind of, even though I when I got better, but my voice wasn't better, I was still able to ride it. Like there was things I could do, but it was just it was also kind of like where I wanted to be a little bit outside, a little bit more sun, just get out of the house, kind of a changing the environment. So now I'm back into it. So hopefully I'll be able to get some B-roll and a lot of that stuff recorded this weekend, start shooting and posting videos early next week and during the week for next week. But the S23 is for me the big thing because that one has to go back. My time with it has ended. I asked for a little bit of time extension just to kind of bring back everything, especially with the footage that I took during my MWC trip because I had it with me. So I just didn't have enough time to kind of put it together. And I just explained them. So look, I'm sorry, I don't feel well. You don't want me to on the video. It's
Right.
just not kind of not gonna go. So now that I'm better, I gotta go do that, and then I put it in the box and then send it bye back to Samsung. So we'll see.
Well,
We'll
I
see
was
how.
glad that Samsung was still sort of investing in their relationship with you. And again, it's the kind of commentary that I feel you deliver some of the insights and some of the experiences that I feel we sorely lack when so many of these devices plummet after that first week launch
That first wave of,
buzz,
yeah, exactly.
Google trends, trending topic kind of stuff. And from my time with the Note 23, because I've already sort of wrapped up my
Oh, that's right.
using it
Yeah.
time,
Hmm.
and now I'm putting together some of the commentary on having used it.
Yeah.
It's a device that does much better in the longer term conversation, but that's also it disappears from the interest so quickly. And just like the Note 22 or just like any other Note before it, it's a platform for productivity.
Yeah.
And that's different than a lot of other phones. And I think, again, too many people are going to rush to a review on the Note 23, just sort of knee jerk react. It's the bestest Android phone of the year. And I feel like that's actually going to do a disservice to some of the consumers who might have considered shopping premium tier. But, like, did they need a pocket computer with stylus support?
Yeah.
That's a very specific individual. That is a very specific consumer. There's a reason why the Note used to only sell
A
between
small.
5 and 10 million units out of
Exactly.
Samsung's hundreds of millions of phones
Yeah.
sold over the year. So I'll be very much looking forward to that. I'm probably going to lean most of my Note coverage just on the Patreon because
Yeah.
I feel I'm just going to be inserting into very specific gaps, like my experiences with Dex, my experiences with the S Pen, and a camera deep dive, and not the more broader, like, this is the whole phone review. I didn't spend enough time with it. I really don't feel qualified to say, like, this is the lived in experience of using a Note 23.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm at the point where I've barely over a little bit over about a month or so being with it, and I've traveled with
Right.
it, and I still to a certain point kind of miss the S series. I really missed. I
Like an
don't.
S Ultra still makes
Yeah,
sense,
like
and we
it
don't
still
get it
made sense to
anymore.
me. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm not gonna lie to, I've used notes and I love the note. I just didn't feel like the Note was the phone that I needed to have in my pocket all the time.
Hmm.
I don't need an S Pen all the time. I don't need the functionalities that you get with and I also didn't really need a phone that was that boxy. This is back to being
Right.
boxy. So there are certain things for me I feel like we lost with the decision to go Note as an S. And I realized that Samsung basically made a business decision. They were like, okay, we have an IP, we have a very unique feature
I think
device.
Samsung was sort of losing
The S series
the
was losing.
trademark.
Yeah.
No, no, no.
No.
I feel like so many other devices were coming out calling themselves Notes
Oh, we've
that
had so many
Samsung
Note.
couldn't defend the trademark on Galaxy Note. I really feel like that's one of the big reasons
That could be.
why
Yeah, yeah. No,
they just shifted it and made
I
the S Ultra a Note.
for me, I feel like in my mind, I look at it as they were having diminishing sales on both lines. They had technically two flagships every year. One flagship that came at the beginning of the year, and a slightly
Hmm.
faster, slightly better second flagship that came at the end of the year with a pen. And once they gave the pen to the S series, we kind of saw the writing on the wall.
Sure.
They're starting to kind of like merge. The pen was no longer unique to the
I just
Note, and
feel the
then
way they did it,
yeah, I know.
unfortunately, sort of killed the momentum of both phones
Yeah,
rather
it's
than
a knee
bring
jerk,
both users together.
and then you kind of also go with the whole. They did that, and then okay, so that was last year with the S22, but then the trade-in value for the S22 tanked because
Yeah.
that was also the year
Hmm.
that Samsung decided to go. It's like, oh hey, let me hit that reality button on trade-in values.
And then they
Um,
lied about taking photos of the moon. And you're like, why would you do that, Samsung? Of all
of
the
all
dumb
of
things
my
to
massive collection
market,
of moon photos that I always go out every single night to try to find the
of
moon and take
all
pictures
the stupid things to pour millions of dollars into advertising,
and put it
was
into your
taking photos of the moon, which are lies. There is no optical information. And the thing that bothers me is like, okay, so every single time someone defends this business practice, I know we're running a little long here, but I have to
yeah,
just sum up all of this.
sure.
Oh, but it's just like a portrait or a beauty mode. No, because a portrait mode doesn't take a mannequin face and completely draw in an attractive face. It just smooths out my skin a little bit and it makes me look pretty. It's fake, but it's my face that was pulled from optical information on the lens. Every phone does this. No, no other phone is making up information in the auto mode, the most used, immediately accessible consumer mode that all these
It's
average
pre-configured.
consumer influencers are like, people don't go through settings. They just use the basic auto mode. Well, that is the worst lie that you
Yeah,
could put into there because there's no disclosure that it's changing or creating information out of thin air. And when you do that on a Vivo has a similar feature, except it's not in the auto mode. It's a whole separate
separate
mode called
moon,
Super
super
Moon.
moon. Yeah,
And the first time you fire it up, there's a nag screen that tells you about the AI enhancements with before and after photos showing
it
you
shows
how
you the
fake
sample.
this is.
Yeah, yeah,
So if Samsung wanted to do this stupid moon zoom and they had made it a separate mode that disclosed the AI enhancements, this wouldn't have been an issue. They're trying to lie about the optical information coming from the telephoto lens. And this pisses me off because a
yeah.
consumer is going to pick up this $1,200 phone. They're going to get an amazing photo of the moon one night. Then the next day, they're going to be like, oh, my phone can take a clear photo of the moon, which
Moon.
is hundreds of thousands of miles away, through the atmosphere into space. Let me take a picture of that cool car from across the street. Wait a minute.
It's not.
Why is the photo of the car across the street blurrier than the really nice photo I could take of the moon? And it's only going to set consumers up for disappointment on having bought a $1,200 phone. They're going to assume all of this is BS, that this is all just fake software gimmicks. All of the real camera improvements will be completely glossed over because Samsung
Exactly.
lied. And then their next phone, they're just going to, hey, you know what? I don't want to mess with this. You know, Apple doesn't lie about their phones. I'll just buy an iPhone because they just work.
Yeah.
And
No, I
like
know.
this is how you kill premium Android by over-promising and under-delivering, and then not just admitting it when you were caught benchmark rigging,
Oh my God, yes, I do.
over-emphasizing resolution, having battery issues, trying to wreck right to repair, lying about your moon zoom, having your phones explode. Like Samsung, if they want to
Or
stop having these
the
controversies,
the ongoing saga of swelling batteries that are still happening, even on recent devices. Yep. No, I know
or
it's
lying
crazy.
about their TV panel display saturation. Did you catch that one too?
No.
So when you test a display, you put a
Yeah.
thing on the TV and it measures the light and the output and the color in a very small surface area.
Yeah.
Samsung found out that they could, in their movie mode, which is supposed to be the most accurate, they would localize the performance in that one little section of the screen that most people use to test the screen. And then when you take the test off, it goes back to a hyper-saturated, super bright, vibrant mode, no matter what mode you put it in.
Yeah.
So all of the color and all of the accuracy of that panel, it's a total lie. And again, they're well overdue some very small but targeted class action lawsuits about misrepresenting the performance of their products.
It's
And I feel Moon Zoom is the dumbest hill to die on,
it
because there are
is. It
so
is. It's like
many
one of the
great
worst things you
things
could.
about the Note cameras.
Yeah, I know.
Why? Why would you choose that to be your
Whoever
big
was in
marketing
charge of that
push?
in the PR department were like, yeah, nobody's ever gonna figure that out. Like the pictures come out, but no, it's I mean, I'm not gonna lie that it always, whenever you do take the picture, it does actually look almost like it's too good to be true. You're right. It makes no sense.
It is.
And you try to take similar images, like you try to
Of
go out and you
things
try to take
on
that
Earth.
100 zoom, and they're like, yeah, we all know the pictures at 100 zoom are crap. They're it's a flex that nobody ever wants. So basically, you do it once, and you're like, okay, I did it out of a plane on the way to Germany, not Germany, Ottawa, on the way to MWC, and I zoomed in. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, cool. So I can see the car down on the ground. I'm like, yeah, but it's blurry as hell. It's not
Yeah.
usable. So you're right. Of all things, this should not have been the hill that they decided to die on. It should
I
have
don't
been.
get it. I really
Yeah.
don't get it. It's only a recipe for disaster, and it taints the entire premium Android market. It
Yeah.
makes all of these consumers who aren't deep in the weeds techies.
Yeah.
These are all lies. And so when I go and I show someone like a 1-inch camera sensor and they react by saying that's not a very good portrait mode filter, I can't blame them,
My
because they've
favorite.
been lied to
Yeah.
for so
No,
many years
my oh my
and
god,
hyped up on
yeah.
these camera claims, that when I show them actual real optical camera performance that is astounding for a phone, of course they're going to believe it's a gimmick, it's hype, or it's a lie. Because literally, what are we doing now with Samsung? We're doing it again with Moon Zoom. And like, it kills me. I do not have billions of dollars of counter marketing to undo all of the damage that Samsung PR has done in this.
I don't even really think that they were selling any devices based on that, but it is, you're right. It's the people that are first wave to buy, where they saw that in the material at the launch event, the conversations. It yeah, it messes it up. It messes it up. It puts a bad taste in the consumer's mouth. And yeah, you're right. They'll be like, well, Apple never does that. And I'm like, that's a
They
different story.
do, but
Yeah.
yeah,
It-
they never make as absurd a claim, and they
yeah, they're
also don't encourage the same bullying behavior from their fans. Apple fans only bully when you have the wrong color text message. Samsung fans bully everything else.
everything else.
And
Because
I shouldn't
everything
say
else.
Samsung fans, Samsung Knights.
Nice.
Samsung
Which is the
fans are people who appreciate that they have one of the best phones on the market, and they like the phones for the features it really has.
yeah.
Samsung Knights live in a reality distortion field where apparently Samsung has figured out how to destroy the laws of optical physics. So we like Samsung fans. We don't much care for the Samsung Knights. So
Sorry. Yeah.
we were going to try and wrap this podcast up like 20
Oh man.
minutes ago,
Sorry.
and I
Yeah.
realized we hadn't really gotten to the Note 23. So I'm glad. Short story, incredibly long,
Incredibly
20
long.
minutes longer than it needed to be. I'm very much looking forward to hearing some more of your thoughts on the
Thank
Note
you.
23, because I think it's a foregone conclusion. This is the most frustrating aspect of talking about Samsung is, on its own merits, the Note 23 is easily going to be my top crown jewel productivity phone of the year.
Yeah.
That's so easy. That is such a high bar. That is such an easy award to deliver this phone. It's going to have good cameras. It's going to be very good at gaming. Like, this is going to be an excellent package.
Yeah.
And time again, Samsung Knights and Samsung marketing get in the way of me just enjoying what will be one of the best phones of the year for making these silly situations happen that now we have to sit there and untangle what's really going on.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that this is always the story, kind of like the way I try to figure out where does it fit. For me, at the end of the day, I'll ultimately, like I said, I mean, I like the Note, but I'm not a Note user all the time. I do have
Right.
there are other things I've been becoming more appreciative of. Like I said, the 1 inch sensor on the 13 Pro and
So
the X90
good.
Pro, they're great devices. I mean, they're seriously one of the better solutions like we're starting to see with cameras now. And I just recently upgraded my wife from the Note 20 Ultra to the the S23 Ultra, the Note 23 Ultra. So for me, yeah, I feel like she would appreciate it more. She
Yeah.
likes the S Pen. She uses the S Pen actually, which is something that I don't usually, they don't value too much. This is, again, I'm not saying it's not great, but again, I
Well, it's the
miss
same thing
the
between you and me. Like, out of all of the phones, I was the Note fan and you
yeah,
were the S Ultra fan. And I feel
exactly.
like we both kind of didn't get what we wanted
Yeah, because I mean,
when they kind of
like
merged them together.
they merged them, and we really didn't know what was going to happen, and then a year later
Right.
we realized, like, no, this is actually kind of sticking. So I'm like, okay, great. So now we know that the S23 or the S series is no longer an S, it's a Note, but it's called an S. But I don't understand why you'd call it an S. Why don't you just call it a Note?
Yeah, I
Because
know.
people are buying it, not getting an S, they're getting a Note. So but yeah, and it goes back to whole, let's confuse them and not let them figure out where things are. But I that being aside, I honestly, some of the better battery life that I've had on any of the S/Note devices I've had from
Sure.
Samsung. Great battery life. The 5,000 battery almost. I'm not gonna say impossible, but it's a
Hey,
lot harder to kill.
don't go spoiling your video. You got to leave them
So
wanting more so
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
they'll
No, no,
come back and
absolutely.
they'll
So
want to
that one will
catch
come out very
what's going
soon.
on.
So look forward to that one, and I'm gonna try to make sure that that one comes out in Arabic and in English. I haven't put out an Arabic video for a couple of weeks. But yeah, no, that's gonna be primarily my biggest thing for the next week, and then there's going to be a little bit of a surprise next week. I can't really speak too much about that yet. Yeah, I'm like, hey, so you wanting more, and like
I am
clenching my purse.
surprised.
Yeah,
I'm
no.
going to lean in now. Hmm.
Yes, my friend. That's going to be for the after hours behind the show, yeah, behind
Oh,
the scenes.
after dark.
Yeah, yeah. So hopefully we'll get that out. I'm working out some details and stuff like that. So hopefully that kind of becomes a thing. But
Nice.
and then trying to hopefully recoup and see how this rain that just never seems to be want to leaving. It's hard, like when you want to test out devices, right? Like you're trying to go out and try to take pictures and stuff, but it's raining, it's like overcast, nothing is growing, and if there is any flowers, they're
Yeah.
all like it's just not. Yeah,
Been having trees falling out of the hills. You're like, oh
it's
no,
yeah,
we
yeah,
could
yeah,
die.
no. No, I know, and we have a little bit of a break for the next couple of days, so hopefully we'll see how that goes, and then I think we're coming another wave on Monday, so we'll see.
Yeah.
But with that being said, I know we're kind of at that magical moment, that 2 hour mark that we always seem to hit. I do want to say, first and foremost, thank you to everybody for hanging out with us. For Michael, for Michael Corrigan, and then my Micro Puppetech. We have both Michaels hanging out with us. Everybody else that's been with us throughout the evening. Hopefully, you found After Dark.
Our inane ramblings at least somewhat entertaining.
Douglas
You
the
know what?
Papa,
I
yeah.
really feel like we dug so much into the Steam Spring Sale. Next week we're gonna
We have to
chat
play.
offline. We're
Yeah.
gonna do a game stream next week and just see. And if that's something that you guys would like to sort of chime in on, or games that you'd like to watch us fail at.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we pick
Keyword
Tetris,
fail.
it's going to be really lopsided. If we pick Call of Duty, it's going to be equally but different lopsided. So let us know. And then also, I think it could be kind of fun to see if there's something else that maybe we could mix into, where maybe if it's like kind of um, uh, an open lobby game that
Yeah.
maybe other people could grab the code and jump into if they wanted to join us in some Shredder's Revenge or
Oh yeah, yeah.
some River City Ransom or something like that. So
They
let us know. You can hit us up on social. Oh, we could also play It Takes Two, but I would really.
I don't want to end our
TK and his
relationship on
wife.
that.
No, I want you and your wife to play. It's so good.
No. But
It's
I was
so good for
jokingly
that.
saying that would be the end of the friendship. It was going great for years, and then they decided to play It Takes Two, and then just Juan started throwing things at the monitor, and TK just ran out
It
the
was
other
just
door.
weird.
So
It was like this unending stream of insulting each other's mothers. It just
yeah,
got
it
real
was like
awkward.
how did it get so bad? It's like the Last of Us wasn't this bad. It just went nasty. So we'll have to see.
And also,
For
Michael
sure.
Peppertech, I think we'd be down. He says, "Would you guys be interested in a Michael picks your brain about gaming session?"
Ooh,
I mean, if we could do that chat also, man. That'd be awesome.
that'll be
I
fun.
like chatting with Michael. Michael is good people, so
Yeah.
we'd
But,
definitely be down for that too.
I think
But
we
on
need
that note,
we need to set some
let's
time.
get
Yeah,
out.
we need to
We're
set some
right
time.
on.
We'll do that.
We can just
We're right on
cap
the
it.
2 hour.
We've got literally
66
68 seconds.
seconds.
Ready,
Okay.
go.
Thank you, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Take it easy. We'll see you next Thursday for another episode of the Best of Our Week. Make sure to catch Monday morning SGGQA with Juan, and let us know what you guys think, which games and what we can do for the next show. Thank you.
Love it. I love it.
Take care,
I love
everybody.
it. You did it. Stuck the landing.